right in the middle of a school lesson. Kong Hansu and his classmates are suddenly transported to another world. They are summoned by a goddess to help save this world from the demon lord and his army of monsters. She promised superpowers for everyone and the chance to save thousands of innocent people. And when they will defeat the demon lord, she will send them all back home. Everyone except our hero agrees to her terms, but Kong Hansu firmly states that he wants to go home, no matter what the goddess offers. Surprisingly, the goddess agrees to let him go, and even asks the others if there are any more weaklings among them, so she can send them all back together. Kong Hansu has no friends in his class, and no one wants to join him, so he hurries back home alone. And that's when an unexpected twist awaits him. The portal drops him in a place completely unfamiliar, and shit only gets crazier from there. He sees rabid humanoid beasts enslaving an elf woman, and now all their eyes are set on him. Their malicious intentions are obvious from their demeanor, and Hansu begins to panic. Frozen on the spot, he knows he's royally screwed. So he does the only thing that makes sense in this insane situation. He runs the hell away as fast as he can. Because if he doesn't, he's freaking doomed. All the students are teleported to a sanctuary city, Proglonia. The saintess of the Grand Temple welcomes the heroes, who have arrived in the Fantasia dimension. Several other gods are present as well. She introduces herself, and shares that she has been expecting all of them. After receiving the oracle from the goddess, she educates the students about another god, Alsis, a sword master and prince of the Sword Master Kingdom, who will serve as their swordsmanship instructor. The girls are excited to see him, captivated by his handsome appearance. Suddenly the saint inquires of the headmaster about the prince. The princess would speak up, but at that moment the princess arrives. She exclaims that she ended up falling asleep after drinking too much. The saintess remarks that Princess Athena's honesty is both a virtue and a flaw, advising her not to mention the second part. Suddenly the princess collapses. The heroes are shocked by this sight. Some of them compliment her on her beauty. Athena, Archmazing, the princess of the Archmazing Kingdom, is also introduced as the magic instructor for the heroes. The saintess informs the heroes that Princess Athena, along with Prince Alsis, will assist them. At that moment, Han Wu, who had opened the status window and shared the information with others, states that they will experience similar situations as they level up and enhance their skills. He is closely observing and attempting to understand his status window. He has received the hero blessing, which auto-translates languages. He perceives it as a cheat-like ability, but is concerned due to the fact that many competitors have received the same blessing. While observing Choi, Kongmin queries the saintess as to why the goddess instructed them to receive God's blessings and how they would go about doing so. She explains that to receive a blessing, one must earn the favor of a god, as each god has their own set of criteria. Suddenly, they are all notified that a god is scrutinizing the heroes' bodies. With a perverse smile, they are all taken aback by this. The saintess explains that every god has their own standards, but each one is searching for the one who will defeat the great Demon King. She also reassures them that the gods are indeed watching them, but cautions that their attention will not last forever. She wishes them the best of luck. One of the students inquires if it is possible to receive any blessing. The saintess smiles and dismisses the notion, stating that she has no interest in dealing with trash. The students are left feeling uneasy. Their adventure in the fantasy world, full of hopes and dreams, is about to begin. Simultaneously on the other side, Kong is running for his life. Pursued by monsters, Kong is extremely exhausted, so he stops to catch his breath. Suddenly the monsters hurl an arrow toward him. They are closing in, intent on devouring him. Kong concludes that there is no need to overthink things. Creatures like these don't exist on Earth. He begins to believe that the goddess tricked him and never intended to send him back in the first place. He resumes running, telling himself that if this is a fantasy world, there should be some sort of miraculous event to save him. Just then a status window suddenly appears in front of him. He is curious about why a hero is categorized under the curse category. He suspects this is a malicious attempt to get rid of him, and is still in disbelief about receiving such a penalty. He notices the auto-translation feature, and realizes that he might be able to communicate with them. He shouts at them, asking them to discuss the situation. The monsters begin crying out, startled that the meat is speaking. Kong mutters that he's simply going to see his parents, and begs for mercy. Suddenly, an arrow strikes him in the leg. He notices numerous fairies shooting arrows at the monsters. He believes a battle between these fantasy creatures has broken out. and seizes the opportunity to flee. Overcome by pain, he swears he will never pray to the goddess again. Meanwhile, a god is watching him. He is suddenly notified that a specific god is peeking at him. Kong decides that he would rather die than pray to God. Suddenly, a specific god approaches him. He pleads not understanding what is happening, but begs to be saved. He feels that his body is moving faster than his mind can process, responding to an unknown voice. He is notified that the god is questioning why he is alone. Kong is about to provide an answer, but hesitates, realizing he cannot tell the truth. He wonders if this voice belongs to the same goddess, or perhaps one of her allies. Desperate, he pleads for salvation. Overwhelmed by the pain, and asks if any other god will intervene. He receives a notification that a particular god is skeptical, muttering that it's unlikely any other god would be present. They add that it's probably a good thing the others are absent. Kong, in pain, then asks if the god is an outsider. The god is unfamiliar with the term outsider. Kong believes he made a mistake in his choice of words, thinking that in his language, it means someone who is outside of social circles. He fears explaining it could invite a curse once again. Instead, he says that an outsider is akin to a lone wolf, roaming through the wilderness. He is then notified that the particular god appreciates this definition. Kong, relieved, requests to be saved once more. After a moment, the god asks if Kong is truly an outsider. Kong isn't, but he lies, claiming that he too is an outsider, explaining that his classmates were summoned to the temple. While he was left alone, the god seems confused by this explanation. Kong insists that it is common sense for an outsider to assist another outsider, but now the god is suggesting that this doesn't apply to him as he is a god. After a moment's reflection, the god decides to help the poor outsider. Using its power, the god magically removes the arrow from Kang's leg. Kong feels the intense pain vanish entirely. His body feels lighter as well. Grateful, he thanks the god. Then he notices his status window, which now lists outsider next to blessing. Curiously, he reads that something terrible will happen if the lone wolf leaves the wilderness. He is confused by this message. Kong turns to the god and inquires if, upon ceasing to be an outsider and becoming an insider, he will be judged. The god replies, emphasizing that they will only assist an outsider. At that moment, the monsters begin to observe him. As he flees, Kong resumes running for his life, feeling the message that he is exempt from all statuses except death. Thanks to the god's blessing, his fatigue vanishes and he no longer feels tired. Meanwhile, the monsters are growing exhausted and are unable to continue chasing him. Suddenly, one of the monsters throws a stone at Kong, but it misses and he keeps running. He silently thanks the god as he feels rejuvenated. Later, he receives another notification from the god, assuring him that he will not die from a mere stone. Kong expresses his gratitude. Finally, Kong reaches a cliff's edge, and as the message suggested, he realizes that all statuses except for death will be reset. He believes that as long as he isn't killed outright, even critical wounds will heal. In a moment of uncertainty, he asks the god if he would survive a fall from the cliff. The god responds, informing him that the height will be fatal if he falls. Worry takes hold of Kong. Meanwhile, the monsters close in, now cornered with the cliff before him and the monsters behind. Kong decides to make a move. He shouts at the monsters, offering them a proposal. He tells them he knows they're hungry, but there's not enough food for all of them. Instead, he offers a deal. Whoever catches him first will get to feast on his delicious meat. Monsters, excited by the thought of catching Kong first, rush toward him eagerly. Kong observes their fixation on his meat and thinks to himself that, although he does not mind the attention, it's clear these creatures are obsessed with a smile. He decides to fall from the cliff, dragging the monsters along in pursuit. After some time, he opens his eyes to find that he hasn't died. His body feels as if it's been crushed, but he believes that might just be his imagination. Slowly, he stands up, surprised that he's still alive. Suddenly, a notification appears, informing him that a particular god is impressed by the outsider's incredible survivability. Just as he processes this, one of the monsters approaches him, intending to feast on his flesh. Kong notices the status window of the creature, Blue Moon's butcher, and deduces that his survival, despite lacking any blessings, has made him an intriguing target in many fantasy RPG worlds. Characters level up by gaining experience from defeating powerful foes. Higher-level enemies offer more experience points, which makes them far more valuable to take down. Kong picks up a nearby stone. using it to strike the monster and successfully kill it. Meanwhile, back with the students, the Saintess informs them that leveling up and receiving blessings are two key ways to grow stronger. One can level up by gaining experience from slaying beings that possess status windows, or they can earn blessings directly from the gods. Choi Kung-min, confident in his abilities, decides to pray to the gods, requesting a blessing to enhance his strength. Just as he does, the Saintess interrupts, reminding the students that receiving a blessing doesn't mean the process is over. Gods will constantly be watching over them. Observing their actions, Yubora raises her hand, looking confused, and asks if this means the gods will keep an eye on them all day. Every day, the Saintess nods in confirmation. Some students feel self-conscious at the thought that the gods might be watching them, even in their most private moments, such as while bathing or attending to their personal business. At this point, the saint has clarifies, addressing their concerns, and explains that gods are not human beings. He asks them not to judge gods based on human standards. Some gods speaking through the status windows assure Yubora that they have no interest in observing such mundane activities. Suddenly, Zhang Mei Yuan, or Ibora as she's known, is singled out by the gods. They make it clear that they will grant better blessings to those they find interesting. Some gods express admiration for her actions, and as a result she receives a blessing. She beams with happiness, though the students wonder what she will do with this newfound power. It becomes clear when the blessing manifests charm, a power that causes her body to radiate a captivating fragrance, constantly increasing the chances of attracting the opposite gender. However, the Saintess quickly intervenes, instructing Jiang to refrain from using the blessing of charm. Immediately, Jiang protests, admitting she doesn't know how to stop the effect. At that moment, a certain innocent goddess expresses her displeasure at the impure nature of such a blessing. The Saintess, shaking her head, acknowledges that it is already too late, as Jiang will now face the consequences of her actions. The students are shocked to witness this turn of events. The Saintess then explains that while gods may grant blessings, they also have the power to bestow curses upon heroes they find undesirable. Jane, taking it back, admits she didn't know about this possibility. The Saintess explains that she was just about to inform them of this crucial detail. As the punishment begins to take effect, John cries out in pain. She apologizes, but the Saintess explains that once a hero has received a blessing or curse, it will remain with them until their death. Moreover, the effects will become more potent as their rank increases, and their level will never decrease once it has been raised. Zhang, deeply worried, expresses concern about how painful the curse is. At her current low rank, she fears that at higher levels, the pain may become unbearable or even fatal. Athena approaches her, offering words of comfort and reassurance. She tells Zhang not to give up, explaining that blessings can help offset the effects of curses. As Zhang levels up and strengthens both her body and mind, the pain will gradually ease. On the other side, Kong is still in the jungle, pondering why his level has not increased. Despite killing several monsters, he suspects it may be due to a curse, or because leveling up is inherently more difficult in this world. After a while, he reaches out to the god for any useful information. The god, in its usual detached manner, simply instructs Kong to refer to him as an outsider. Kong, slightly frustrated by the god's lack of helpful guidance, decides to comply and asks once more. The god gives a brief reply by saying yes. Kong feels that aside from the blessing, the god is largely unhelpful. Nevertheless, he decides to hold on to the blessing, appreciating the one merit it provides. Despite wandering through the jungle for hours, he realizes he doesn't feel thirsty, hungry, or even tired. Suddenly, Kong notices that some monsters are closing in on his position. He hides behind a tree, thinking that if he encounters a person here, it could mean trouble, as this land may be overrun with monsters and devoid of any other humans. At that moment, a particular god sends him a message, informing him that a powerless outsider will die peacefully if he cuts himself. Kong wonders about the god's cryptic statement, but decides to remain cautious. The monsters, sensing the scent of blood, are disoriented and unable to determine which direction to take. Kong, feeling more energetic, and now equipped with a knife that once belonged to Blue Moon's butcher, contemplates his next move. The blade is sharp, and he is ready to use it. Meanwhile, God is offering him prayers of support, assuring him that he won't meet an untimely death. Observing the tree vines nearby, Kong decides to cut them, and as he works, He feels the god's presence watching over him. With blurry eyes, he ties the knife securely into a makeshift pocket before turning to the god and inquiring if it is familiar with centrifugal force. Using the vine, Kong binds a stone to it and begins to rotate the vine, preparing to show the monsters the power of science. He swings it, and although it feels as though the force might drag him along and send him tumbling, he remains resolute. Every time the blessing activates, his legs stop trembling and his breathing steadies. With renewed confidence, he hurls the vine at the monsters, hitting them with the stone. As he continues to improve his control over the outsider's blessing, Kong soon realizes that he no longer needs to focus on the small, bothersome things like cuts or fatigue. As long as he avoids an immediate fatal blow, the blessing will heal him automatically. This realization allows him to keep fighting on the brink of death without fear one by one. He fells the monsters, however. Kong begins to notice their clever tactics. They are trying to wear him down by dragging him into prolonged battles. These monsters are nastier and more intelligent than he initially thought. Still, he perseveres, relentlessly beating them. At one point, a monster attempts to grab him from behind, but Kong is prepared. He swings the stone and strikes it hard, declaring that they will receive the same treatment as before. After a long battle, Kong finally stands victorious, having defeated all the monsters. He approaches the last one and demands to know where the humans reside. The creature reluctantly gestures in the direction of the human settlement. Kong then inquires about the monster species, to which the gnoll responds that they are known as gnolls. Without hesitation, Kong kills the creature with a final blow from the stone. He reflects that if the monsters had been truthful with him, he might have spared their lives. But he never promised such mercy. Meanwhile, at the temple, Prince Alceus informs the heroes that official training will begin the next day. He explains that he will be teaching swordsmanship, while Princess Athena will be in charge of magic training. He adds that the heroes are free to choose any path they wish. Suddenly, Choi raises his hand and expresses a desire to enroll in both training sessions. Prince Alceus acknowledges this request, but cautions that both lessons are demanding, and it may be too much for him to handle. Who then questions the prince, asking if it would be acceptable for him to skip the lessons altogether. Prince Alceus assures him that he is free to make his own decisions. Hanwoo, seeking more freedom, asks if it would be possible for him to leave the temple. During his free time, the prince confirms that he is welcome to do so. The next morning, Prince Alceus gathers the heroes and directs those who wish to pursue the path of a knight to follow him. He reassures them that they can change their minds later if they find that the path doesn't suit them. For those interested in learning magic, he instructs them to wait as Princess Athena has yet to arrive. As they prepare, the heroes check their status windows. Hanwoo notices a special inscription before his blessing, indicating that he is the most chosen individual in the world. This blessing, he realizes, is unique to him and can only be seen and experienced by him. Overcome with joy, Hanwoo reflects that Choi, despite his arrogance, remains oblivious to the true significance of his status. Later, outside the temple, Hanwoo mulls over the situation and concludes that if someone like Choi had tried his best, he would at least have earned a rank position, rivaling the main character. After some time, Hanwoo is at the city plaza of Pearlgina. He thinks he came to the right place. He enters the mercenary guild to start his fantasy story. There are so many fighters there. The receptionist welcomes him and asks him why he is there. He replies that he wants to register as a mercenary. Suddenly, a girl comes up to him and explains to Hanwoo that this is not where a greenhorn like him should be. She asks him to stop spewing stupid crap like this and return to his hometown. She says she has seen many hot-headed boys like him becoming mercenaries and dying. Meanwhile, Hanwoo thinks that is the effect of his blessing, which is the primary character buff. The girl approaches him and asks if he is listening to her. Hanwoo thinks this beautiful mercenary woman, with a nosy disposition, is a princess, or a noble of high standing in disguise. He smiles and thinks this is the fate of the main character. It is no doubt the effect of a special blessing. Suddenly, he asserts that he does not want to return, and that she should accompany him if she worries. He continues to say that judging books by their covers is not a good habit. He is sure that she has also experienced that many times. The girl smiles and replies that he got her there. Hanwoo gets happy and thinks that he is exceptional in this world. After that, he informs the girl he cannot tell her much about it, but he is chosen. While Hanwoo had a hard time talking to a beauty like this, so smoothly back on Earth, In this world, he is a hero who will be saving the world. He is going to leave suddenly. The girl wonders how those chosen abilities stack up. He replies that she will realize what the primary character buff is. On the other hand, in the jungle, the monster reassures Kong that he is not lying to him, that the human village is to the west. Kong thanks him for the information and then hits him with a stone. After that he says, "These gnolls are unexpectedly honest. They are so crude that anyone can tell when they are lying." Kong thinks he does not know the exact distance to the human village, but he confirms it by asking a bunch of gnolls, so there can be no mistake. He also thinks his desperate fight with the gnolls became like a brief hunt. As he beats more of them, he has gone from prey to a seasoned hunter. Overnight he is happy. Kong sustained plenty of heavy wounds. While learning how to hunt, he learned how to fight quickly with his outsider's blessing. His clothes are ripped off while fighting with the monsters. He is excited since he does not go insane. Even after being inflicted with so many heavy wounds, he will meet the natives of this fantasy world in the human village. God grumbles and says they are sorry about it. He asks him if he wants him to die. He gets the reply that the certain God does not care what happens to him. Suddenly a monster attacks him again, but he fights back with a butcher's knife. Kong is worried there is no end to these gnolls. No matter how many he kills, they keep coming. He fights with them and stabs them with the knife. Kong Hansu is now annoyed as he is not leveling up at all. He thinks he must have killed dozens of gnolls with higher levels than him, so it should not be a problem. He gets the message that a specific god is getting uneasy after beating the monsters again. He can hear the language of a friendly race that he cannot understand. He starts looking around carefully. Considering they shot arrows at a pitiful person being chased by a carnivorous plant, their definition of friendly might differ from the one he is familiar with. Suddenly he sees some swordsmen and a woman who are humans. He thinks they might be mercenaries. Suddenly a woman throws a weapon toward Kong as she sees him. They all will attack him. He then says that he is just looking for a human village. He hides his dagger and sits down, signaling that he surrenders, as he is against violence. Kong knows that nothing has changed. They cannot talk with each other. But humans do not only communicate with words. Body language shows an inclination towards avoiding conflict, and a cordial voice does not put the other person on edge. He thinks they cannot hold a complicated conversation this way, but this much should be communicated. But the woman is going to throw an arrow at him. Kong stops her and reassures her that another worlder does not bite, and that he is nice to another worlder. The mercenaries refrain from killing him. After a while, Kong finds himself traveling with them through the dense forest. The lady and the man try to speak to him with some serious expressions, but their words are foreign to Kong. He could use gestures to at least let them know what his name is, but other than that he cannot understand a single word. It does not help that foreign languages were always the subject. That lowered his GPA. Kong thinks it is a relief that he met some friendly people. At least these people didn't start by shooting arrows at him, unlike the fairies. And he also doesn't need to worry as much about running into monsters. He cannot see these guys as status windows. But he is sure that fully armed mercenaries would be more potent than someone at level 1. God reassures Kong that he is not acting like an outsider now, but Kong ignores him. A particular god whines at him not to talk to them. Half-heartedly, he replies that speaking more casually, when someone gets closer to you, is normal. Kong thinks that he was able to meet people, but he can still only have conversations with the gods. However, he found out what these people's names were, thanks to using body language. This hairy older man is Gary. He speculates that Gary is the leader of this party. He carries a giant sword without showing a hint of tiredness. Kong finds him so strong suddenly another man calls him and hugs him. His name is Cole. Cole is smaller than Gary, but has a seasoned muscular body and laughs often. He has a long sword on each waist. The lady is named Misa. She is the party's ranged attacker, and often uses a giant crossbow made of steel. Based on the size, Kong does not think its primary purpose is to fight people. She points her finger in some direction. Kong realizes that she wants to show him something. He sees smoke from afar. The smoke is not from a forest fire. It should be chimney smoke rising out of a house. Kong is happy to find the place where people live. Suddenly he gets notified that a particular god looks at the bold outsider. With displeasure, Kong says he is just pretending to get along, to escape from this forest. Suddenly they all hear some noise. There are so many monsters coming. Kong is shocked to see the monsters. He is ready to fight them. But Cole, Gary, and Misa move forward to fight the monsters. They fight with the demons using their swords. Meanwhile, Misa sets her aim with an arrow at gnolls. Suddenly a gnoll comes to attack her. But Kong saves her from the gnoll. A particular god is uncomfortable. The gnoll seems bigger than usual. Kong explains to the outsider god to look over this, since humans are social animals. And so he needs help from these people. A certain god replies that it is not their concern. Meanwhile, the gnoll is going to attack Kong. But he saves himself as he moves with the speed of light. He kills the gnoll with the knife. The gnoll falls on the ground. Kong knows that they are behind him. After some time, they beat all the gnolls. Kong thanks them and tells them he would have been in trouble if they weren't with him, but they all give him rugged looks. Suddenly, Misa throws an arrow towards Kong, hitting him in his right shoulder. He falls after that. The mercenaries stand around Kang's lifeless body. Cole expresses his admiration for Misa's insights, stating that their plan has been disrupted because of the gnolls. Misa, however, sees it as a positive turn of events. She comments that the gnolls' chaotic behavior has given them a glimpse of how dangerous Kong truly is. She admits that she had initially underestimated him, thinking that someone as thin as he would be weak. However, not only does he fight better than she had anticipated, but his odd foreign language also makes things more troublesome. Bray suggests that they should stick to their original plan. Cole agrees, though he laments the turn of events, adding that Kong would likely not have been willing to be sold into slavery. Gary, ever practical, proposes they take whatever they can from Kong. He mentions that grabbing the dagger from him is their best option, as it could hold more value than they realize. He points out that the intricate decoration on the dagger indicates it belongs to fairy royalty. Cole approaches Kang's body to retrieve the dagger, only to find that Kong is still holding it tightly. Misa warns Cole not to let his guard down. Cole, realizing the danger, decides that he must finish Kong off with his sword. However, before he can act, Cole notices Kang's status window. 2 conditions must be met for someone to see another status window. Either the individual shares it willingly, or it can be viewed through a special blessing. Cole, surprised and shocked by the unexpected development, is caught off guard just as he's processing this. Kong strikes him with the dagger. Gary and Misa, stunned by the sudden turn of events, watch as Cole collapses. Kong stands tall, seemingly unscathed. Gary, now enraged, targets Kong for elimination. But before he can act, Kong dashes forward with incredible speed and strikes him with the dagger. Misa, attempting to take him down with her arrows, finds that they have no effect. Kong, unfazed, pulls the arrows from his body with a grin. Misa, now desperate, pleads for her life, bowing before him in surrender. Kong mutters something to her, though Misa fails to understand his words, and in an instant he kills her. Afterwards, Kong changes his clothes. Feeling a sense of disbelief at what transpired, he reflects on how uncomfortable it is to think about the deadly weapon she shot at him. He shares this thought with God, feeling that it might have been fitting, but the fact that it came from a woman made him uneasy. Meanwhile, God chuckles at his discomfort. A certain god acknowledges that they respect the outsider's unusual preferences, though Kong defends himself, clarifying that it wasn't a matter of preference. He explains that Misa was the only one with a similar build to him. Kong also decides to take her arrows with him, believing they may be useful later. Meanwhile, back at the temple, Princess Athena offers an apology to her students for her tardiness. She assures them that she will now begin the lesson on the nature of magic. She informs them that long ago, magic did not exist on the continent of Fantasia. The students start murmuring among themselves. Some dismiss magic as nonsense, while others argue that it's purely practical, focused on real-world applications. One girl suggests that magic is simply chemistry. Eubora, irritated by the distraction, scolds the others for disturbing those who are trying to focus. Princess Athena, seizing the moment, states that magic is largely about talent, and that becoming familiar with mana is essential. She admits that she shares a dislike for unnecessary theories, stressing that talent is the most important factor in mastering magic. The students, intrigued by her words, ask about the origins of magic. Princess Athena pauses, then explains that magic is a field where natural talent outweighs all else. She continues, noting that talent is often determined by one's bloodline. Though education and connections also play a role, she urges her students to never forget these truths. Princess Athena introduces herself as Athena Archmazing, the direct descendant of Zion Archmazing, the 12th disciple and third husband of the founder. She proudly declares that her lineage is significant, as she carries both the bloodline and the connections that come with it. The heroes, curious, ask her what that means for them. In response, Princess Athena explains that all of them are connected to her through their education, and that being her disciples will allow them to unlock their high potential. Eubora, feeling uncertain, raises her hand and inquires if someone without any bloodline or connections could ever become a magician. Athena confidently assures her that it's indeed possible, but she emphasizes that they all begin with a strong advantage because of the connections they share with her. Excited, Athena walks toward Eubora, her enthusiasm palpable. She says that while she will explain the full details later, for now Eubora should come forward. Taking her hand, she announces that from this moment on, Eubora will be her apprentice. The room falls silent and Eubora is visibly stunned. Athena further clarifies that she acknowledges Eubora as her very first apprentice. Jang Mian and Choi Kong Min exchange surprised glances, shocked by the sudden turn of events. Princess Athena then instructs Eubora to create a magic elf. Eubora stands still for a moment, unsure of how to proceed. After a brief pause, Athena congratulates her, declaring that Eubora is now a full-fledged magician. However, Eubora looks bewildered, confused by the rapid changes unfolding around her. As the realization starts to settle in, her status window updates, confirming her newfound title. Athena, with a small smile, admits that she forgot to mention something important. Those who become apprentices earlier in their training receive a greater transfer of talent. Eubora, still processing, notices that a C-rank blessing appeared with her apprenticeship. She voices her observation, prompting Athena to explain that the blessing she received was the very talent she had referenced earlier. The thoughtful look. Eubora reads the meaning of magician in her status window and hesitates. She then expresses a concern to Athena, explaining that without a parent or master who possesses the magic blessing, she doubts she'll ever be able to truly become a magician, no matter how hard she tries. Athena looks at her, then asks if she now understands why talent is so crucial. Eubora, nodding in understanding, confirms that she does. Princess Athena, satisfied, acknowledges her question and offers a demonstration. She holds up a small, glowing magic ball in her hand, revealing that the founder, who eventually ascended to become the god of magic, left behind a blessing for future generations. This blessing was designed to help their descendants, and students quickly learn the ways of magic. Athena further explains that an average magician will rely on this blessing to use magic safely and efficiently. She calls this practice white magic. The students watch with awe as the display unfolds, clearly impressed by Princess Athena's mastery. After this, Athena shows them another magic in which her hands burn. The heroes are shocked to see this. She tells them that her talent is always needed for magic. He tells the heroes that in her right hand is white magic with her blessing, and in her left hand is black magic without her blessing. Suddenly the head maid comes in, pulls Athena's cheeks, and tells her it seems she forgot the strict instructions from their majesty not to use black magic. Athena replies that she only did it to make it easier for the heroes to understand. The maid replies that she will report this to the queen. Athena apologizes to her suddenly. A prince also comes in to heal Athena, while she requests the maid not to tell this matter to the queen. Conversely, Eubora is scared and apologizes because she asked Princess Athena such a question. Suddenly, Athena is all right and tells the heroes she is happy, knowing they all understand the danger of black magic. Some heroes ask about black magic and whether it is an evil power. She replies that black magic is not bad. Unlike the blessing of magic passed down from their founder, black magic is like the magic power of nature. On the other side, Kong Han Wu reaches the village. He asks the guard if he needs dry firewood to start a fire. The guard does not understand him, but Kong moves his hand forward and gives him some coins, saying he understands what he is saying. He comes into the village, thinking that many armed people are running around everywhere, maybe because it is in a forest with carnivorous plants. After some time, he takes a bath and wipes his body, saying that money is the best, since it allows him to become friends with anyone, even if he cannot talk to them. He gets a message that the god is uncomfortable. He replies that he is also awkward. As he is showering, he asks the god about gender, and gets the reply that the god is now more uncomfortable. Kong says he will think of himself as male to protect his dignity. Suddenly the god is worried. Kong asks why he is scared. The god replies that it is a secret and hides in their heart. Suddenly Kong hears some voices coming from outside the room. He shouts that he is bathing, so please wait momentarily. Someone from outside says that they understand. Kong wears clothes feeling alerted, and thinks that someone he can communicate with is outside the door. They can talk with each other. But the fact is the person outside is not human, but a hostile race. Kong realizes that the person in front of him is not someone friendly, as he suspects the man could be a monster or part of a hostile race, like the gnolls or demons. When the door opens, Kong takes a seat on the bed, hiding his daggers, and invites the person to come in. As the door opens, Kong is curious to see what kind of monster or person will appear. To his surprise, a human man enters. Kong asks him what the matter is, and the chief replies not to worry, explaining that he is the chief of the village. He came to check after receiving a report about a traveler speaking a different language. Kong is observing the chief closely, noting that he looks young for someone in his position. The chief, using his observation blessing, is able to see Kang's status window, which makes Kong slightly uncomfortable. The chief suggests that Kong try to hide his status window, but admits it won't work on someone like him, who has the observation blessing. The chief then comments that he initially thought Kong might be a fairy who sneaked into the village, but believes Kong must actually be someone from a distant land. He explains that the village has a complicated history with fairies, having lost their homes due to the greed of fairies, eventually spilled into human territories. Many people in the village lost their families to this conflict. The chief reveals that the village is essentially a fort, established by people who gathered together for revenge. As a result, there are many mercenaries in the village, and most of the original grievances have faded over time. Meanwhile, God expresses frustration with Kang's current situation. The chief explains that the village is full of inexperienced individuals, greenhorns who came to gain experience in battle. As the chief prepares to leave, he asks Kong one last question. He shows Kong a potion and tells him that since he had dinner earlier, it should have had an effect, due to being laced with a paralysis potion. However, the potion seems to have no effect. Kong, now suspicious, pulls out a dagger in response. The chief, impressed, explains that the potion had no effect because Kong, like fairies, has a high resistance to potions. He reveals that the potion is a spell, designed for situations like this, and explains that this resistance to potions can't even be broken by something like the invisible rope he possesses. When the chief takes Kang's dagger from him, Kong is shocked. The chief states that Kang's situation is unfortunate, but not his fault. God warns Kong that they are attempting to warn him. Kang's unease grows as the chief's intentions become clearer. Later, Kong finds himself imprisoned. The chief tells him that while the villagers are angry with the gnolls, believing them to be responsible for the loss of their families, the truth is that the gnolls are also victims. The real culprits, according to the chief, are the fairies who pitted the two sides against each other by taking the gnolls' land. The chief reveals his own curse, calling it the karma of one who carries the truth. His name is Crimson, and he is at level 16. He bears the curse of the fairy, which means that he is the sworn enemy of fairies, and as a result his life and youth have been shortened. Kong, confused, asks if the goddess gives out such curses. The chief responds that this curse is a result of the accumulated grudges of the fairies he has murdered, likening it to an honorable scar. Kong realizes that each curse has its own unique condition, and this one is a direct consequence of the chief's actions. When Kong denies being a fairy, or having any particular disdain for them, the chief becomes more aggressive, putting the dagger to Kang's head. He tells Kong that he changed his mind after seeing his dagger, and asks where he obtained it. Kong simply lies, and claims that he killed a fairy who shot an arrow at him. He also tells the chief that they may have a common enemy. The fairy's Crimson seems impressed, remarking that Kang's skills are remarkable if he truly killed a royal fairy. However, Kong remains unaware that the fairy he killed was of royal status. Crimson smiles and says that despite Kang's apparent ignorance, he is in quite a precarious situation. Kong asks the chief to spare his life, but Crimson tells him that it's a shame. Since Kong saw his status window, he reveals that he is a mage, Without the magic blessing, a lone wolf running through the wilderness. Crimson cryptically adds that Kang will never be able to run the wilderness again. God, meanwhile, prays for Kang's luck in the afterlife. Crimson, demonstrating his own black magic, makes a lady fall to the ground, placing his foot on her body, and stating that he is a dark mage, who must sacrifice others to prolong his life. He smiles and explains that, though the curse from the fairies may eat away at him, he can continue fighting it by using sacrifices to extend his life. Crimson tells Kang that he will sacrifice him without pain, as a reward for caring about the fairy royalty. Kang, maintaining his composure, smiles and sarcastically responds that the chief is very generous. Despite his apparent malicious intentions, Kang thinks he might just be kicked to the curb by a god with a rotten personality. But this is not the worst. He can still keep on yapping. He calls Chief Crimson and asks him if he wants to beg for his life. Kang responds that he will not. Crimson urges him to proceed, expressing his desire to hear his last words. Meanwhile, something irritates him, and he swiftly kills them with his rope. Kang remains terrified and silent after that. Crimson inquires what Kang wishes to say. In contrast, Kang reflects that the chief's actions seem abnormal, or perhaps he is showing him all this on purpose, aiming to be recognized as someone on the side of justice. Kang confesses that it has been a difficult journey, with no one acknowledging his efforts. Crimson grins and acknowledges it seems that he understands him. Kang replies that it is because he is an outsider. Crimson responds stating that being an outsider means a lone wolf roaming the wilderness. Kang realizes Crimson too is an outsider. Meanwhile, the god murmurs that Crimson is definitely not an outsider. Kang also disagrees, but believes he has successfully empathized with him. Crimson grins again and confides that he likes Kang, declaring that as an outsider, he must continue being a lone wolf. Kang ponders his strange logic, thinking that initially, Crimson expresses liking him for the greater good, but now he wants to kill him to preserve his status as an outsider. Kang feels pissed off. Crimson tells him this is a happy day, as he finally meets someone who understands his great mission. Kang thinks he gets himself into the worst situation possible. He is scared after that. Some people hang with the chain. Crimson watches them. He comes near the boy and says he should go with him, as he is in a bad state lately. Boy says something to him in another language. He replies that his mate needs to live on and entertain him, so he will not kill her after that. He pulls him down. The boy falls in the formation made by Crimson. He starts his black magic and calls his mother for life. He requests that she allow him to have the remaining life of this fairy. The magic circle begins to glow. The boy in the process is visibly terrified. Crimson assures him that if he surrenders it to him, he will reunite him with his mate very soon. He grips the boy by his hair, warning him that he has witnessed the consequences of rejecting his mercy. Meanwhile, Kang reflects on what happens to the chief. He speculates that the chief becomes younger by absorbing the life force of the fairy. After a brief pause, Crimson declares that his spell is a success. Kang responds by stating that he doesn't appear younger. Crimson explains that it is because he is not human. He admits that he doesn't sacrifice fairies to extend his life, and he doesn't know how many fairies and travelers he has killed. Kang remarks that it is to the point that the fairy's curse is a tragic one. Crimson removes his clothes, revealing something to Kang. Kang is now intrigued by what he's doing, but is shocked when he sees that Crimson is a gnoll. Crimson openly identifies himself as a gnoll. Kang, filled with fear, wonders if Crimson might be of mixed race. Crimson boasts about the remarkable combination of two races that harbor deep resentment toward the fairies. He grins, saying that he will soon exact his revenge, using his human intelligence and gnaw physique. Crimson claims that his dark magic is supreme. Kang questions him, asking how he seeks vengeance by hunting fairies with the power of the fairies. Crimson approaches him and tells him not to worry about trivial matters. He then proceeds to teach Kang about outsiders and reveals his true identity. He grabs Kang, asserting that he will forget him and put his life to good use. Kang, trying to make sense of it, sarcastically responds that Crimson has been of so much help to him. Kang then asks if Crimson still wants to kill him. Crimson coldly replies that it is because Kang is an outsider. Kang feels a surge of anger and realizes that today he has learned that a truly dangerous outsider exists. He believes that this moment is his fated turning point. On the other side at the temple, Princess Athena, Archmazing, renowned as the genius of the Archmazing magic kingdom, admires the hardworking despite her royal status. which consumes much of her time. She doesn't need to try due to her immense talent. Meanwhile, Yubora asks if magic is created through their imagination and suggests they could increase efficiency if no other methods exist. Despite hearing that a magician's skills are determined by bloodlines and school connections, Yubora's dedication in working hard catches Princess Athena's attention. As a result, she decides to make Yubora her first apprentice. Princess Athena praises her question and explains that to improve her magic, she must follow the magic of her teachers or parents. She then demonstrates some magic with mice. Surprising the heroes, Princess Athena thinks that, thanks to the talent passed down from their ancestors, members of the Archmazing royal family are capable of using exceptional fire magic, generation after generation. She then shows them an ice rabbit, her unique magic, and asks if anyone wants to try it. They all eagerly agree, and Yubora steps forward. However, the magic doesn't work well for her, and Princess Athena explains that it's because Yubora is still getting used to it. She reassures her that with more experience, Yubora will be able to create the magic easily. Yubora thanks her for the explanation. Suddenly Jang Mayon speaks up, asking Princess Athena if anyone will like her, since she doesn't receive a blessing. The other students begin shouting that they need a blessing and complain that Princess Athena is being unfair, treating them all the same. Princess Athena, after thinking for a moment, asks which hero wants to be her second apprentice. All the heroes shout in unison that they want to be her second apprentice. The students, now eager, begin pleading for her attention. However, with a single sentence from the princess, the alliance collapses. As the students start fighting amongst themselves, Princess Athena then tells them to inform her of who wants to be her second apprentice. Yubora asks if this is done intentionally, but Princess Athena is confused by the question. Afterward, Princess Athena concludes the lesson by telling them that unique magic, like her ice rabbit, can only be obtained after countless trials, errors, and practice. Yubora then speaks up, comparing it to black magic. Princess Athena, shocked by the comparison, tries to explain that black magic differs from white magic. Yubora asks if it's impossible to continuously practice black magic alone, and Princess Athena, looking concerned, explains that black magic requires sacrifices each time it is used. Meanwhile, Kong stands in the center of a magic formation created by Crimson, deeply worried about why he has been captured by this insane man. Crimson, sensing Kang's hesitation, demands that he declare that he will surrender his life to him. Kong realizes that consent from the sacrifice is essential for black magic, and despite being physically restrained, he knows he is not owned by Crimson. Crimson tells him that their conversation is over, and that Kong must declare now that he will surrender his life. Kong, fearing for his life, thinks of a way out and requests to see Misa one last time before he dies. Crimson asks why he seeks her, and Kong replies that he is her lover. Crimson, skeptical, reminds him that Cole is Misa's lover. Kong, responding honestly, admits that Cole is her ex-boyfriend. Crimson demands proof that Kong is truly her lover. Kong, without hesitation, suggests that Crimson smell his body to confirm Misa's scent. Crimson, after smelling it, acknowledges that the scent is unmistakably Misa's, confirming that they must have been lovers. Crimson, thinking that if Misa disappears, both Gary and Cole will become suspicious, begins to plot. Kong, internally relieved, is impressed by how Crimson is so frighteningly clever. Crimson then asks if Kong has any other wishes. Kong, seizing the opportunity, requests to be freed until he can meet Misa, and afterward he promises to declare that he will surrender his life. Crimson agrees to the deal, and the Knoll laughs menacingly. Suddenly Kong senses overwhelming dark energy, his body racked with pain, and he realizes that Crimson's words about not making him suffer were a lie. Crimson bids him goodbye, saying he will tell Misa that Kong has gone far away. Kong, remembering that Misa is the one who left first, responds that it will be difficult for Crimson to explain that to her. Crimson is taken aback, and in that moment, Kong rushes forward and lands a punch directly to Crimson's face. Crimson seethes with fury, accusing Kong of tricking him. Kong, still defiant, retorts that he believes it was Crimson who deceived him, having promised a painless death instead. The excruciating pain almost drove him mad, and he warns that such torment can turn a close ally into a sworn enemy. Crimson is left stunned by Kang's resilience. Kong, with a sly grin, promises to tell Crimson everything when he's dead. As the magic restriction lifts, The god resets Kang's lifespan, and the magical formation dissolves. Crimson, now enraged, growls in frustration. Kong, unwavering, reminds him of the deal if he survived. He was to be set free, and Kong expects Crimson to honor that promise. With determination, he grabs a dagger and demands that Crimson uphold his end of the bargain. Kong then cuts the chain of one of the captive girls, releasing her. The girl, weakened, is shocked, but Kong supports her and begins walking away. Crimson halts him, reminding Kong of his previous warning. Kong, knowing that Crimson hadn't harmed him before, reasons that finding someone who had already died was a futile effort. In a fit of rage, Crimson declares that as long as Kong releases the lifespan he's been granted, the promise no longer holds. Crimson releases his demonic energy and uses magic to grab hold of Kang's legs. Kong, slightly concerned, braces himself. Crimson expresses his disappointment, telling Kong that it would be wise to give up on his hope for a painless death. Kong, however, smiles unfazed and replies that it's far too early to give up. Crimson scoffs at Kang's confidence, but then, without warning, blood spills from Crimson's mouth. The chief's strength begins to wane. Kong observes the shift, realizing that ever since he struck Crimson with dark magic, the chief's powers had been weakening. Crimson, now desperate, demands to know who Kong really is. Kong, with a defiant smirk, responds that he is an outsider's apostle. As Crimson nears death, Kong feels a rush of anticipation. He sees this as his chance to acquire experience points by finishing off the level 16 chief. He plans to escape once and for all. He bids Crimson farewell, but the null, now manifesting in Crimson's body, curses Kong, vowing revenge for destroying his dream. Crimson charges toward Kong in a final attempt to kill him, slashing at Kang's chest with his sharp, brittle nails. Crimson sneers, claiming that this power is not swordsmanship, but a special ability he's kept hidden for hunting fairies. Despite the injury, Kong calmly states that it's unfortunate but not fatal. To the Gnoll's shock, Kang's wounds rapidly heal. Kong, unfazed, explains that this was a close call. Crimson, now weakened and drained of his strength, attempts to flee. However, the girl grabs his foot, stopping him. Crimson snarls at her to let him go, but before he can escape, Kong appears and swiftly decapitates Crimson. Though Kong knows this victory is not final, there's still another authority to face. Kong, having dealt the final blow to the Gnoll inside, Crimson watches as the Gnoll dies. Crying out in pain, Kong remains unyielding. Dakin, an unseen observer, expresses his sorrow for Crimson's fate. With the last of Crimson's tyranny now crushed, Kong frees the many fairies the chief had captured, calling on the villagers to help. With the situation nearly resolved, Kong leaves the area. A month later, Kong finds himself roaming once more through the jungle. Without warning, fairies attack him, forcing him to leap from a cliff to escape. On the other side, there is a childish fight at the temple over the apprenticeship problem, but mages aspiring to become masters show up in droves. The situation is quickly resolved, as countless mages pursue the honorable title of Hero's Master. Princess Athena tells the heroes that magic needs to be visualized in their minds, so focus is significant. The heroes are practicing magic as they create a ball of fire. Suddenly, a student asks Princess Athena about the math of magic. She replies that there are no such rules in magic where math applies. After some time, the student asks the hero if he uses addition or subtraction while creating that ball of fire. He tells him that he can use magic because he has a master who can create fire well. He replies that he does not believe it, because he is sure he could quickly become an archmage with modern knowledge. Suddenly, the masters arrive. One master tells Princess Athena that she misdescribed something to the heroes. He tells the heroes that it is true, that mathematics is applied to magic. The heroes are surprised. The master explains that since Princess Athena used a fireball as an example, he will continue with a related explanation. He says the princess, who has only learned theory, might not know this, but they have been implementing mathematics to raise the efficiency of magic. Meanwhile, another magic master arrives and shows them a magic ball in the air. The other master tells them they must avoid unnecessarily wasting mental energy in a war. He says that when they shoot the fireball, the angle is critical. He tells them they also need to consider the direction and speed of the wind. Suddenly, a blast occurs in the air. The boy is happy as he gets his answer from the masters. After that, the master tells them that practical battle magic will also help. The Princess Athena expresses her interest in learning it. After some time, the heroes are with the other mages. Meanwhile, Practical magic is being taught by exceptional mages in the field, with the guidance of excellent masters. The heroes quickly learn magic. Suddenly, a thunderstorm occurs. Fairies are sitting in a room. One is injured, and another is applying medicine to her hand. The injured fairy is Espresso, the maid of the fairy princess. Her fellow apologizes, saying, the only thing she can do for her is dull the pain with medicine. On the other hand, a miracle from a saintess could make her recover. But there is no way that either of the only two saintesses in the world would present a miracle to a mere fairy, who is not even anything special like royalty. Her fellow prepares to leave and tells her they will capture that human, so she should rest easy. Espresso thinks this might be the act of Chief Crimson, but the villagers who just stood by could also be accomplices. She cries and thinks that when she returns to the kingdom, she needs to report this village first. Suddenly someone knocks on the door. Another fairy is standing outside the room. Espresso tells her to come in. She enters and tells her that the village mercenaries lost him. Espresso is slightly angry and tells her they do not have to care about the human problem. She replies that the man saved them from the evil chief. They are talking about Kong Hansu. Espresso becomes angry and tells her that he has a princess's dagger and that he is tricking them. He says humans are beasts they cannot trust. The girl again tells Espresso in a hoarse voice that it is still true. He saved them, Espresso replies. That is why she is keeping her mouth shut. And it is not like they told him to kill him. It is merely beasts tearing each other apart. Suddenly, Councilwoman Celeblis arrives and asks Espresso about what she said. The other fairy comes near Celeblis to support her as she looks sick. Celeblas is a fairy royal, whose name means Holy Sun in the ancient Lang language. Despite being of royal heritage, she has infinite life. She was a toy that Chief Crimson especially valued. She was also the one imprisoned in the basement the longest. Celeblis starts crying and tells them that Kong could have run away by himself, but he freed her. Espresso tells her she knows that he is after her infinite life. Celeblis asks if she knows their savior used the dark magic pact. Meanwhile, Kong Hansu uses pact violation. Anyone who violates a pact must pay back however much they took. The chief ends in self-destruction after underestimating Kang's life. Espresso tells Celeblis that she remembers when she used to run around without a care in the palace, but now it is a distant memory of the past. She cries. Celeblis tells her that is why she needs to go and find him. The fairy tells her it is dangerous as her condition is worse now. After that, Celeblis leaves. Meanwhile, God is listening and watching them and then slowly leaves the scene. After some time, God arrives in the jungle, comes near Kong. He is a little stressed as he has fallen from the cliff. Meanwhile, at the temple, Prince Alice is with the heroes who want to become swordsmen. The students are shocked to see that they are having a sudden tea break. He takes all the students to the banquet hall. After some time, they all sit at the dining table. Prince Alcis tells them to toast the heroes, who have chosen the path of swordsmen. The knights shout and cheer. The heroes are scared to see their enthusiasm. After that, Prince Alcis tells the students that he will show them a simple demonstration to heighten their understanding. He asks the commander for a spar. The commander agrees and gets ready. Prince Alcius tells them that they will first demonstrate the swordsmanship everyone is familiar with. He tells the commander to seal his swordsmanship. After that, they start a duel. Prince Alice attacks the commander while he is stepping back. Prince Alice attacks swiftly, and the heroes are impressed to see them. Prince Alcius appreciates the commander for his sword dance. After that, Prince Alcius says he will now show them the authentic swordsmanship everyone will learn. Some energy is released from Prince Alcius's sword. The commander's sword also releases energy. They both prepare for the duel again. They begin their second duel, and the light from their energy is intense as it collides. In one strike, the commander's sword breaks, and he is defeated. Prince Alcis appreciates the commander for his skills. Meanwhile, the heroes are curious about what just happened. Prince Alcis tells them that the power to cut through every defense of the opponent in one strike is called swordsmanship. He tells them to forget about the Demon King, because they cannot even defeat the ironclad cavalry within imitations of slashes. One of the heroes says that it seems like swordsmanship is about pursuing efficiency. Prince Alice tells them that they have understood, so he will now begin teaching swordsmanship. He tells them to take a sip of the tea placed in front of them. They all drink it, but find it taste terrible. Prince Alice tells them that a warrior's blessing is necessary to learn swordsmanship. He explains that the tea is medicine. a practical method to obtain the blessing quickly and safely. He adds that they must become accustomed to the flavor. They all drink their tea. Choi Kong-min drinks it and asks for another cup of medicine. Prince Alice tells him that it is better to take some snacks and asks the commander to pour another glass of tea for Choi Kong-min. On the other hand, in the jungle, God and Kong are sitting on a tree. Kong thinks that there were no gnolls to lessen the impact this time. He feels relieved that there is a forest right under the cliff. He believes the mercenaries who persistently chased after him started from the village. He thinks he would have been caught helpless if the bribed guard hadn't opened the village door. Suddenly, some gnolls arrive, and they see Kong in the tree. Kong watches them as they welcome him with a friendly greeting. He feels it ironic that he trusts the gnolls more than humans, or fairies after that. He jumps down to the ground and kills the gnolls in one strike. Kong says it is easy since there are only 3 gnolls. He tells God that his body seems to have gotten more elegant than before, and he is curious about it. He checks his status window, but notices nothing changes. Suddenly he notices that the dividend is now 3.43. He asks God what it means. God smiles at him and advises that the higher it is, the better it is. Kong gives him a strange look and thinks that for the first time, he is hearing something valuable from the god. Meanwhile, one of the gnolls is still alive. Kong approaches him and says he wants to ask something. He tells him that he is in quite a mad state because of the fairies. The gnoll is happy to hear about fairies since he wants to eat them. Kong thinks that the solution he found is gnoll swordsmanship. He believes he is too weak to take revenge on the goddess, even if he reaches level 2. He decides it is best to mimic the swordsmanship that only gnolls can use, as the chief said it will at least make him stronger. Then he is now after that. He asks the gnoll about his red eyes and the power of meat. Kong wants to see the power of beef. He thinks gnoll's swordsmanship is the power of meat, but the information he has is not enough. He says he must research the gnoll's ecosystem to ensure his revenge is smooth. On the other side in the dining hall, Prince Alsus tells the heroes that talent is needed for magic, but anyone can learn swordsmanship if they have time and money. Meanwhile, the heroes need to catch up with this lesson. Suddenly, Choi Kong-min asks for another cup of medicine. Prince Alice tells him to stop drinking for the day, because efficiency can be reduced if he drinks too much. Choi thinks he needs to become stronger as fast as possible, because he is different from others. Prince Alsos approaches him and advises that it is better to cleanse his mouth with some honey tea. He tells him that consistency is essential, and drinking 1 cup a day, or even 2, is fine. If he becomes greedy, it might backfire. Choi smiles and replies that 2 cups a day will benefit him. After that, Prince Alsus explains that the warrior's blessing will not settle quickly. Just like a baby cannot become an adult overnight. Choi looks shocked to hear this, but suddenly gets a blessing called grit. It means he becomes stronger and mightier the longer he fights. The effect resets if he is defeated or if his will to fight breaks. Choi is surprised but happy. Prince Alsus congratulates him and tells him he has high expectations for him, now that he has received the battle god's blessing. Choi replies that he is flattered. After that, Prince Alsus tells them he will show them how to hide their status window. On the other side, a gnoll named Fong is eating his prey in the jungle. Kong is watching him. It has been a couple of days since he started following the gnolls to observe the power of meat. Suddenly, Fong notices him and charges toward him to attack. Kong saves himself and realizes that the gnoll tries to hunt him whenever given an opportunity. After defeating Fong, Kong observes that he still feels too weak. Kong checks Fong's status window and learns that his name is Fong, and he is at level 6. Kong asks him if he is really a level 6 player. Fong replies by flexing his biceps, proudly saying fairy meat. As an explanation, Kong realizes that Fong is referring to eating fairy meat, which supposedly grants power. He asks Fong why he is still weak despite having hunted 2 fairies. Fong gets sad and insists he is strong. Kong punches him again over time. Kong starts learning about the gnoll's characteristics. Fong tells him the direction to the fairies' village, where Kong was ambushed before. Kong begins to confirm that the chief's claims were not delusional, but true while traveling. Kong catches a rabbit and eats it. He notices that the gnoll's body begins to change as well. Kang's strength starts increasing every time he eats. Kong thinks this method is simpler than the chief's black magic, which stole life force, though its effectiveness is reduced. After eating the rabbit, Kong asks Fong if he is satisfied now. Fong starts growling, says he wants more meat, and his eyes turn red. He charges at Kong again. Kong punches him with full power, and realizes that Fong's behavior reveals the power of meat. With this newfound understanding, Kong attacks Fong again, cutting his body in two with full force. Kong feels confident and thanks Fong for helping him learn. As he approaches Fong's remains, Fong mutters that Kong is also a null. Kong denies this, believing he is human, but notices that his hands are releasing red energy, and his body feels changed. Kong realizes that the chemical reaction is driven by intense emotion and the null's greed for meat. God, who is observing, is surprised and tells Kong that this is the power of meat, and replies that he doubts just anyone can use it. He asks God if he would have died using strength drawn from depleted life force if he didn't have the outsider's blessing. God explains that the blessing resets after every meal, creating an infinite loop of replenishment. Later that night, Kong and God roam the jungle. Noel smells meat nearby, but before anything happens, Kong appears and punches the Noels in one strike, defeating them effortlessly. God is surprised by Kang's strength. Kong runs ahead, thinking that even though he has grown stronger, he feels unhappy. God points him in the direction they need to go. When they reach the fairies' village, Kong smiles and says he will punish those fantasy barbarians with the power of fantasy. The guards are stationed outside the village. Kong thinks about sneaking into the tunnel through the back. Security is higher than expected. However, he feels satisfied because he memorized the village layout beforehand. Meanwhile, the god urges him to act now. Kang grows curious about why the god is suddenly trying to be helpful, but his instincts are telling him the same thing. He runs toward the village boundary wall and climbs up, using his dagger once inside the village boundary. He feels relieved that no one is watching him. He plans his next move carefully. After some time, a guard emerges. Kong grabs him from behind and puts a dagger to his neck. He kills the guard and drags the body aside. Kong reflects that these people probably have others to mourn their deaths, but he has a family too. He laments that he almost died without seeing his parents again. Because of these people determined, he vows not to let them step all over him anymore. Meanwhile, God watches him provocatively. One by one, Kong kills several guards and collects their bodies in one place. He mutters to himself that the infiltration was fun and games, but he has only encountered mercenaries so far. He wonders how he will find the fairies. He reasons that both fairies and humans should need to use the bathroom, but questions why he has not seen any fairies yet. God sneers at Kang's delayed realization. Kong tells him not to be mean. Suddenly, he hears voices. Some humans have captured the fairies. Kong finds this development exciting. On the other side, Espresso has been kidnapped by some men and is being taken to the basement. Espresso's mind is racing with multiple thoughts. Suddenly, she hears the voice of a lady, saying that Crimson believed they were ignorant of their actions, but they disregarded him because they wanted to protect their new way of life. Espresso recognizes the voice as belonging to the healer from earlier. The healer tells the other fairies that this situation is their retribution for letting their dear friend fight this battle alone. Meanwhile, a boy tells his companion that he overheard in the cafeteria that fairies despise humans. A bald man speaks up and says something has happened in the village. A lady with blue hair instructs her men to begin. The men step forward with daggers, intent on killing the fairies in Crimson's name. The bald man kills Espresso. After some time, they kill more fairies until only Celeblis remains. She is tied with ropes. Celeblis tells them that their objective will be complete if they kill her, but she warns them that killing their savior to keep their secret fills her with anger. The boy suggests they let Celeblis go if she agrees to keep their secret. Celeblis angrily replies that he cannot possibly believe that an arrangement based on threats will hold. The lady with blue hair retorts that even if Celeblis lies, they would let her go. Celeblis smiles and takes the opportunity to mock them, saying they should learn that fairies do not lie to save their own lives. The captors, frustrated, decide they have no choice and prepare to kill her, promising to make it as painless as possible. Suddenly, Kong appears. He swiftly kills the man who is about to execute Celeste and saves her. Celeste is shocked to see him there. Kong tells Celeste that they have met again, but first he needs to take care of the remaining enemies. Kong runs toward the attackers and kills them. He thinks that, whether it is fairies or villagers who side with the village chief, he has planned to destroy them from the start. A frightened girl begs Kong to spare her. Kong understands her language, but believes it would be unfortunate to let her go. He kills her as well. Meanwhile, the lady with blue hair is running away, But Kong notices her, he suddenly throws his dagger, hitting and killing her. Kong thinks it was a smart decision to take care of that burly guy first. Suddenly Celeste starts saying something, but Kong cannot understand her. Curious, he checks her status window and is shocked she is at level 12. He has never seen someone else's status window before and wonders if she showed it to him on purpose. Kong notices that Sayla Bless has 3 blessings, all of which are high rank. One of her blessings is Tamir, which slightly improves the abilities of animals that someone has tamed. Kong thinks that although this blessing is high rank, it would be useless without animals. He suspects there is only one reason. She would show him her status window deliberately. Kong tells her he knows her name is Sayla Bless. She smiles at him when she hears this. Kong feels nothing likely due to his outsider's blessing. Meanwhile, God is angry at Kong. Kong sits down and remarks that he knows he will not remain an outsider if he is punished. Sayla Bless looks surprised by his words. Kong thinks Celeste might be a lucky fairy. Although he initially planned to kill all the fairies, he hesitates because she has had a similar experience to his. Kong decides that to survive, he will need to interact with the indigenous people of this world. After freeing Sayla Bless, he tells her to take care of the rest herself. Kong reflects that if he kills all the fairies here, he will be no different from them. Suddenly Sayla Bless runs toward him. He grabs her and tells her to stop, making things difficult for him. Sayla Bless says his name, and Kong is shocked to hear this. After some time, they are walking through the streets of the village. King comments that even though so many people have died, the village is eerily quiet. He asks God if he knows the reason. God replies dismissively that he is not in the mood. King considers getting rid of Celeblast to calm God's anger, but realizes he cannot trust anyone in the village, and the forest is full of gnolls. He decides it is best to leave immediately. Kong grabs Sayla Bless and begins running. While running, Sayla Bless tries to say something to him. She raises her hand, and Kong sees a phoenix approaching. He is shocked. Sayla Bless smiles at him. After some time, the phoenix lands on the ground. Sayla Bless greets the phoenix and asks Kong to put her down. Kong releases her, and she approaches the phoenix, speaking to it as though they understand each other. Kong is astonished and realizes this is because of her tamer blessing. Afterwards, Sayla Bless walks back to Kong Hansu and kisses him. God becomes furious at the sight. Kong asks her what she is doing. Clearly confused, the phoenix begins revolving around them. Suddenly, Kong notices Sayla Bless sitting on the phoenix. She says something to him and then leaves. On the other side, God pulls his hair in anger. Kong tells God that he is upset too and cannot believe Sayla Bless repaid his generosity with misconduct. Suddenly, a status window appears in front of Kong, and he is shocked by what it reveals. Kong sees that he has received a blessing from a fairy. He is delighted to discover that it is a high-ranked blessing. At the same time, God feels uncomfortable and annoyed. He tells Kong that all sorts of unexpected things can happen in life. The fairy explains that the blessing designates Kong as a friend of the fairies, which increases both his lifespan and youth. Kong reflects that the blessing is similar to the outsider's blessing. He realizes that if he uses the outsider's blessing and the fairy's blessing together, the lifespan he can burn with his meat power will significantly increase. God tells him that he looks unusually happy. Kong replies that he is satisfied because he has parted ways with the fairy. The god feels more at ease now. Later, in the middle of the jungle, Kong tells the outsider god that they should venture further, this time on the other side. Prince Alsus and Princess Athena are gathered with the heroes of Fantasia. Prince Alsus tells the heroes that it has already been 3 days since their arrival. He explains that after meditation, they will raise their levels by hunting. He reassures them not to be frightened, as the night orders will draw monsters closer for their first hunt. Princess Athena cheers up the heroes and tells them that blessings are an absolute necessity for mages. She explains that when the rank of their blessings and their levels increase through hunting, their competence will also grow. The heroes, encouraged by her words, are excited and ready to hunt. Suddenly, a hero notices a slime. The group prepares to attack it, but Princess Athena and Prince Al stop them. They explain that slimes are beneficial creatures that do not harm humans, so they should remain unharmed. The heroes are surprised by this information. Princess Athena explains that slimes consume all manners of filth, trash, pests, and even corpses. She tells them that slimes reduce the risk of infectious diseases in the area. Holding the slime in her hand, she emphasizes that attacking slimes is forbidden, even for heroes, as it would be considered savage. The heroes apologize to her for their misunderstanding. Afterward, Prince Alsis tells the heroes that gnolls, with an average level of 2, would be the most appropriate targets for their first hunt. However, their main goal today is a gnoll with an intermediate level of 4. The girls in the group are shocked to hear this. Princess Athena reassures them, saying they need not worry, because they have a saintess who can revive them if they die suddenly. Prince Alsis adds that with the people they have today, they could even handle orcs with an average level of 6. He steps in to support Princess Athena, covering for her words. After some time, the hunting begins. The students encounter the gnolls and are shocked to see them. Choi Kong-min is thrilled as he finally has prey to fight. He attacks a gnoll but fails, and the gnoll injures his eye. Leaving him in pain, the gnolls begin to defeat the heroes one by one. Mages try to fight back with magic, but their spells have no effect. The gnolls prepare to attack the students as well. Suddenly, Prince Alsius arrives and intervenes. He fights off the gnolls and cuts one into pieces. Saving the students, every hero is injured. After the battle, the saintess approaches Prince Alsius and thanks him for his efforts in guiding the heroes. She sits near one of the wounded heroes and calmly remarks that there must be a reason why God chose these people as heroes and sent them to this land. She uses her powers to heal the injured heroes. Looking serene, she tells them that each time they die, she will revive them after some time. The heroes are revived and continue hunting. Choi Kong-min is with his group facing a gnoll. Choi charges at the gnoll using his blessing of grit, and this time he succeeds. Defeats the gnoll. A particular god compliments Choi for being smart, and Choi feels happy to have reached level 2. He also gains 2 new blessings: command and acceleration. Acceleration allows him to move incredibly fast during critical moments. Command grants any group he leads a slight increase in their abilities. Choi watches as his fellows celebrate. Suddenly he notices a gnoll attacking Zhang, but her group kills the gnoll. Zhang cheers for her team and announces that she is now at level 2. Meanwhile, other girls look at her with envy. Jang Monin thinks to herself that beauty is also a weapon. She has received a blessing called Color of Beauty, which frees her from ungracious acts, like physiological phenomena and physique maintenance. Jang feels ecstatic and thanks her group for their support. Choi thinks that Jang made a clever move. Afterward, he approaches the other girls and offers to help them. Meanwhile, all the gods are watching the activities of the heroes closely. On the other side, Eubora is fighting a gnoll alone. She faces some difficulties, but remains determined, saying she can handle it. She uses her magic power to create a fireball and successfully defeats the gnoll. Eubora checks her status window and sees that she, too, has reached level 2. She has gained a blessing called Weapon, which means her body can function as a powerful weapon. In all situations, certain gods applaud her, and she thanks them. She notices that her wooden sword feels unusually sturdy due to the blessing. As she examines her status window, another gnoll suddenly attacks her. Thanks to her blessing, her weapons are powerful and can be restored. She defeats the gnoll, hitting it with her sword, and then using her magic power to deliver a fatal blow by cutting its neck shortly after. She receives a notification that she has reached level 3. Eubora feels overjoyed knowing she accomplished this alone. Conversely, Choi Kong-min feels irritated, as some of the boys in his group are busy fighting gnolls to impress Zhang elsewhere. Prince Alsius and Princess Athena are observing the hero's progress. Meanwhile, at noon, Kong has killed countless gnolls. God asks him if he knows how many he has defeated. Kong replies that even without checking, he knows he has killed at least a few thousand. Kong checks his status window and grows frustrated. Despite repeatedly checking his status while fighting, he notices that a curse has been added, but he has not leveled up. God is also feeling uneasy. Kong replies that it is okay. He knows that growth will be challenging because of the curse of that evil goddess, but he does not expect it to be this greatly diminished. He is angry and says his level is not going up at all. He notices that God is watching the stars and is curious as to why he has gotten into them all of a sudden. On the other hand, he wants to know about the curse of slaughter, which means the friendly races will slightly fear him and find him appalling. Kong says he is being forced to be an objective outsider. Meanwhile, God is cheering him up. Suddenly, he sees that NL is wearing a precious bracelet. He takes it off. Kong is stealing their treasures, as he is sure they are all from humans or fairies. He thinks he cannot level up, so money is the only way to get stronger. Suddenly, there are many gnolls coming toward him. Kong sees them, and there are still gnolls remaining. He sees their status window And the knoll with the name Hook makes fairies cry. At level 6, Kong knows they devised a plan, because they thought having the number advantage was insufficient, and it looks like they eat a ton of meat. Kong is also ready for the fight. They all run at once to attack him. Kong jumps to beat them. There is the energy of meat released by him. He says he is happy that so many good teachers came to find him personally. Meanwhile, the gnolls are shocked to see his jump. He kills one of them and thanks them because with their help, he learns to use his powers naturally. He says it will always be incredibly lacking no matter how much they prepare. After some time, he beats them all. Now he has a ton of gold. He thinks he has a language problem with merchants. They are no better than rocks. If he cannot sell this stuff at the proper price, Kong believes he needs a translator. He also says he can trust them since they suck at lying. Suddenly a man with a devil's horn comes. He asks him where the one caring for all these gnolls goes. Kong is surprised to see him. The man comes near to him. Kong suddenly grabs him, smiles, and says he finally got the one who understands his language. He asks his name, and tells him he does not know what kind of gnoll he is, but he thinks they can become friends. The man replies implying that he is a devil, not a gnoll. Kong is shocked to hear this. He believes that demons are very powerful humanoids, as the goddess said she told them that the objective of the heroes was to defeat the great demon king. He also thinks that if even gods had to request help from otherworlders, demons had to be powerful. Suddenly the demon shouts at him and tells him that hitting someone on the nerve at first introduction, while claiming to be friends, is ridiculous. He also tells him that the belief that all demons are strong is prejudice. Kong apologizes to him and tells him he is too weak. The demon starts crying after that. He tells Kong that he is abnormally strong. He asks him who he is as he is so strong at level 1. He replies that it is all thanks to his blessings. The demon does not believe him and tells him he is not dumb, as he can see more curse than blessings. Kong is shocked. The demon tells him he has an observation blessing in his one eye. He tells him he also has another gift other than observation that lets him peek at the status windows of others. Meanwhile, God is also watching everything. The demon tells Kong he is a dark mage and cannot learn dark magic if he is dumb. He tells him he is currently training away from his homeland for marriage, so do not treat him like a lowly human. He tells him he was already at an appropriate age to marry, long before birth. Conversely, God pressures Kong to ask more about the devil's personal story. After that, Kong asks him why he has not managed to get married till now. He grabs him by his neck. The devil is annoyed with his axe. The demon replies that the stronger a demon is, the more partners they can have. He tells him that he ran away because he didn't want to become the 243rd husband of an old demon. Kong sees him with pity. The devil asks him how he can move around. Kong doesn't understand it. The devil tells him he used a significant amount of that paralysis potion that would paralyze even a fairy with solid natural resistance. So how is he immune to it when he is just a level 1 human? Kong sees the poison bottle. Kong remembers the Chief Crimson who had poisoned him earlier. He tells the devil he is reminding him of such an enraging memory. The devil is trying to bind Kong in magic, but Kong escapes. Kong asks him what relationship he has with the chief. The devil replies that it is a stupid question, as he does not know how many leaders he has met. Kong tells him he is talking about the leader who has a gnoll head on its chest. The devil remembers and tells him that he knows that chief. He tells Kong that the chief is a human on the verge of dying, and that his backstory is a tale that would make anyone cry. He also tells Kong that he saved the chief from that fairy's curse. Kong replies that he is the magician who helped that rotten chief. On the other side in the jungle, the saintess tells the students that other heroes have given up on training and returned to the temple. The funds will now be invested in the remaining heroes. The heroes are happy to hear this. Prince Alcis tells them that an average of 3 levels in just one day is an unprecedented level-up speed. He also tells them they are all truly unique, as expected of humanity's hope. Suddenly a knight arrives and informs Prince Alcis and the saintess that they have discovered a gnoll. In the middle of binging, the saintess asks him about the gnoll's level. He replies that it is at level 5. She tells Alceus that the 3 heroes are at level 3, so it is a rare opportunity and a good experience for them if they fight the gnoll after some time. The heroes are with Prince Alceus to hunt the level 5 gnoll. They reach their destination, and Prince Alceus tells them to keep silent. He whispers that while it may look dim-witted, this gnoll is a special unit. It is combative. to the point that it would even attack someone far more substantial, so they must be careful. Princess Athena adds that a full knoll can even use dark magic, so they have to be cautious when its eyes glow red. Suddenly the knoll discovers them. Prince Alsus tells the heroes to stay back. The heroes are a little afraid. Choi reassures them, saying there is no need to be scared, using his blessing command. He tells his fellows that since the knoll is larger, it should be slower than the knolls they faced earlier. While he is talking, the knoll appears behind him, ready to attack suddenly. A blast occurs and the knoll begins beating them individually, proving to be more powerful than expected. Yubara uses her magic and sword to attack the knoll, but her attack fails and the knoll throws her away. Zhang, sacred and afraid, sees the knoll coming toward her. She prays for help, but her blessing charm works on the knoll, preventing it from attacking her. The knoll smiles at her suddenly. Prince Alsus arrives and kills the knoll. Zhang Mian is a little nervous. At the same time, Prince Alceus hears the sound of the heroes, fighting hard against a strong opponent. Suspecting they may have God's blessing on their side, the devil is panting and tells Kong how he can swing him around like a twig. Kong tells him that he has a favor he cannot do, so he wants to die. The devil uses his power, and Kong is annoyed as it feels similar to the outsider. Kong thanks him for helping the chief out of pity, but scolds him for almost dying a meaningless death. Tang asks him if he wants to get beaten up more or if he wants help. The devil replies that it is too much of a request, but he mentions a terrifying Santas in the city closest to them. He also says he cannot die without getting married. The devil looks excited and tells Kong they can go to the second closest city, and he will guide them there. Kong agrees, thinking he does not want to go to the town where the goddess is lucky resides. As they journey, the devil mentions that knights have been restricting entry into the forest for the past 2 days, so they need to take a roundabout way. He adds that he would need his identity checked, which is dangerous for a demon like him. Kong believes that if this is the case, then it cannot be helped. He thinks he would also face difficulty due to the language barrier, and feels annoyed with the goddess. Meanwhile, God laughs at him. On the other side, Han Wu is walking in the jungle with girls from the mercenary guild. One of the girls teases him, saying he might be the least helpful person among all the country bumpkins she has met. She sarcastically asks if he learned about the world from a picture book, since he does not even know about an outhouse. Han Wu thinks to himself that bathrooms are not mentioned in novels or comic books. Although he wants to say something, he restrains himself because over the past 2 days, she paid for the armor and even his weapon. Suddenly she notices him staring intensely at her and comments on it. Han Wu nervously explains that it is just a misunderstanding and says he likes walking behind people. He smiles, thinking that a beautiful girl like her helping and looking after a stranger must be due to his blessings. Unique effect. She, however, is unimpressed and calls him dumb, recalling how he attacked a slime earlier. She warns him that past this point is orc territory and suggests he start with simple errands in the village. She emphasizes that orcs are far more dangerous than gnolls and warns him not to leave the forest. Kong assures her that he understands. Meanwhile, the gods spectating the events increase. Han Wu feels smug, thinking that while others grow slowly, like ornamental plants in a greenhouse, he will be active in the field and monopolize the gods' blessings. Girl finds him creepy when she sees him smiling to himself. She then explains that no territory is a tough place for a slime-ranked mercenary, which is the lowest rank among mercenaries. Suddenly, Han Wu notices he has gained a new blessing that provides bonus EXP. While he acknowledges that the blessing comes with risks, he confidently dismisses them, believing they are no problem for a main character like him. After some time, they arrive at a location. Han Wu asks her if she is sure this is where the request was made, as there are no gnolls in sight. She admits that he is right, and wonders if something has happened to the forest. Han Wu smiles, joking that extraordinary incidents always happen where he goes. He does not get his point and calls the situation troublesome. While examining the map, she mentions she thought they could quickly manage the request to bring back 5 right now ears. Han Wu suggests they go deeper into the forest, but she warns him it is not an easy matter. She proposes they return to the guild for new information, but Han Wu confidently tells her to trust him for the moment. She skeptically asks him why he is so confident. Suddenly a gnoll appears and attacks. Han Wu manages to save himself, but is shocked by the encounter. The girl runs toward the gnoll, shouting at Han Wu to get it together. She leaps and attacks the gnoll with her sword, but the gnoll's steel armor proves too strong. She realizes it might be a named monster. After asking Hanwoo if he is okay, she prepares for another fight. The knoll stands in front of them, and she tells Hanwoo to draw his sword, explaining that named monsters are incredibly powerful. Hanwoo, seeing the knoll for the first time, admits it is scarier than he imagined. Before they can act, 2 more knolls appear. She tells Hanwoo to listen carefully, and says she will draw their attention so he can escape. Hanwoo refuses, joking about leaving his axe behind. She insists there is no time for jokes. Suddenly one of the knolls throws a stone at Hanwoo, hitting him hard. Blood spills from his mouth and he faints. When Hanwoo regains consciousness, he asks her about the knolls. She replies that she has taken care of all of them, and is wrapping a cloth around her injured hand. Hanwoo is shocked and asks if her injury is because of him. She tells him it was her mistake and that he should not blame himself. However, Hanwoo feels both guilt and anger, deeply worried about her condition. Jongwoo, worried about the girl's injury, starts searching for ways to heal her. Through his status window, she tries to calm him down, telling him it was her mistake and that he shouldn't blame himself. Meanwhile, he gets a notification that a particular god is laughing at him and asks mockingly how he feels now. Hanwoo, frustrated, yells back at the god, telling them not to laugh as this isn't funny. Suddenly, he receives a curse from the god for his behavior. The curse is that he cannot peek at things, even without physical barriers. At first, Hanwoo is confused, but when he tries to see through his status window and fails, he realizes the meaning of the curse. It deeply frustrates him, and he becomes sad. The girl notices him mumbling and asks if he's okay. Hanwoo sees her, but realizes he can no longer see through things like before, solidifying the curse's effect in his mind. She then mentions that the forest feels ominous, and suggests returning to the city before more gnolls attack, which could put them in grave danger. This time Hanwoo agrees, thinking of the saintess in the city who might be able to fix her arm. He promises her that he will take responsibility and heal her arm, because he is the hero of legends. Meanwhile, in another part of the jungle, Kong is walking with the devil, who finally introduces himself as Cogmos. Cogmos explains that he is the 23rd child of the 348th wife of the 14th Demon King. He also shares that while humans place massive value on royalty, in demon society anyone with power can rule, making noble and royal status less significant. Kong smirks and teases Cogmos, calling him a nobody demon with nothing, causing Cogmos to start crying. Kong feels bad and consoles him, asking about his nickname. Cogmos reveals that his nickname Moss was given to him by an old friend, who later became the 425th wife of the 7th Demon King. He laments that he couldn't congratulate her after she had her first child. Kung feels pity for Cogmos, who is obsessed with marriage, but doesn't believe his struggles are as bad as his own, being kidnapped into a fantasy world. Meanwhile, a god watching over Kong urges him to leave the forest, calling it boring. Kong notices that this god behaves differently when he's with demons, as opposed to fairies or humans. As they continue, Cogmos spots footprints and announces that they are nearing the forest's edge. He warns Kong not to let his guard down, as beyond the forest lies the Night Kingdom ruled by sword masters, and it also borders orc territory. Kong seems excited, wondering if there are any strong warriors among the orcs. Cogmos warns him that orcs are on a completely different level than the gnolls they previously faced at a cliff overlooking the orc territory. Cogmos points out the orcs below. Kong observes them and notes that they look like ordinary orcs. However, one orc suddenly sniffs the air and detects a human nearby. The orc announces to his comrades that a male human is close. Cogmos blames Kong, saying his glowing red eyes are attracting attention. Kong, annoyed, explains that he can hide them but forgot. Cogmos scolds him, adding that Kang's wealth reeks, making him a target for the orcs. Kong decides to approach them and jumps off the cliff, landing in front of the orcs. He greets them casually, but the orcs demand that he hand over everything he owns, even mocking him by calling him a pig. Kong corrects them, saying he is a human, but notes to himself that, while these orcs are more eloquent than gnolls, they aren't intelligent enough for meaningful conversation. Kong realizes he has no choice but to deal with them. Cogmos had warned him that orcs are stronger than gnolls and are skilled in teamwork, surrounding their prey efficiently. Kong, however, provokes them, asking why they don't hand over everything they have instead. Before the orcs can respond, Kong swiftly drives a dagger into the head of one orc. The remaining orcs are shocked, their expressions showing both rage and disbelief. At that moment, Kong confidently thinks about how he can manage this fight, thanks to the outsider's blessing. He smirks and declares he will decide who's related to pigs. Kong continues to systematically eliminate the orcs, leaving only 2 standing. They prepare themselves for a fight, but Kong taunts Cogmos, saying he thought that orcs were stronger than gnolls. Cogmos defensively replies, "They are, but he is the weird one." With a few decisive moves, Kong dispatches the remaining orcs. Afterward, Kong smugly asks to take care of them. They were easier than he expected. Turning to Cogmos, he adds, if he is going to tag along, he should at least try to help. However, Kong notices something is off with Cogmos. Before he can ask, Cogmos shakily points to the sky where a giant dragon is soaring. To Kang's shock, Cogmos reveals that a saintess is riding the dragon. Cogmos urges Kong to carry him, which irritates Kong begrudgingly. Kong lifts Cogmos onto his back and starts walking, muttering about how he has never even carried his parents. Yet now he's giving a demon a piggyback ride. Meanwhile, God mocks Kong, suggesting he feed Cogmos to the orcs. Cogmos, overhearing this, sarcastically agrees, adding that if anyone discovers a human helped him, his chances of marriage will drop to 0. Kong smirks and threatens to spread the rumor far and wide. Once they escape the forest, Cogmos, annoyed, asks if Kong is just an ordinary human. Ken confidently replies that he is not. He will become a hero. Kagome is shocked, remarking that a hero's curse is typically only given to demons who lose to heroes, and run away. This curse is known as the hero's nemesis, which makes it nearly impossible to level up, effectively reducing a demon to a living corpse. Kong, surprised by this revelation, asks if it's truly possible to gain power in this world. With such limitations, Cogmos wonders aloud why Kong, despite being a lowly human, has such immense power. He speculates whether the outsider's blessing has additional effects they don't yet understand. As they discuss, Cogmos takes a peek at Kang's status window and discovers the true nature of the outsider title. He explains to Kong that the blessing resets all his progress to the beginning. That's why Kong doesn't need to eat, sleep, or even recover from injuries. They simply vanish as if they never existed. Cogmos declares it a cheat like blessing, but Kong bitterly disagrees, calling it more of a curse. No matter how much experience Kong gains, his status always resets, preventing him from growing stronger. Cogmos asks how Kong plans to become powerful with such a limitation. Kong grimly replies that he will figure it out. At a temple, one of the heroes angrily complains about losing battles, but his comrade, Choi, calms him down, reminding him that they're not the only ones struggling. Prince Alice enters and encourages the group, stating that they are leveling up quickly, even if they are only at level 4. However, he worries about the shortage of enemies to hunt, which could slow their progress. The commander informs Prince Alsace about strange developments in the forest. Initially, they believe the annihilation of the gnolls territory was the work of a famous mercenary group. However, further investigation revealed that the sword techniques used to eliminate the gnolls were identical across all the bodies, suggesting it was the work of an order of knights. Prince Alsace orders the commander to delegate the investigation to the Intelligence Guild. While preparing for the heroes to hunt orcs, the commander is shocked but complies, knowing they need the heroes to grow stronger. Back in the forest, Hanwoo finally arrives at the city's outskirts, carrying the injured girl on his back and panting heavily. Prince Alice is shocked to see him like this. Instantly, Hanwoo shouts and asks for the saintess. Hanwoo's fellows are also shocked to see him. Hanwoo shouts again and says he heard how she returned to the temple. Prince Alice tells him to mind his manners. Hanwoo apologizes and tells him that a girl's life is on the line because of him. Suddenly, Princess Athena comes there and is shocked to see the girl. It seems they both know each other. The girl tells them that she is just an ordinary mercenary now. After that, Hanwoo tells Princess Athena to take him to the saintess. Meanwhile, the saintess comes and angrily says it is deafening out there. She asks them what is happening here. Prince Alice says that the hero Hanwoo has returned. Hanwoo is about to request her, but the guards stop him at the same time. The saintess sees his status window and tells him that he is already at level 1 with the curse. He replies that he also recruited an excellent comrade. Then the saintess sees the status window of the girl with Hanwoo. Her name is Arya, and she is a level 12 player. The saintess thinks that she has a B rank noble blessing. If she is not a marquis, she is probably a daughter of a duke. She says Arya is excellent. Han Wu tells the Saintess that Arya protected him with her life. He can say she is worthy. The Saintess tells him to take a look around. She tells him that there are Templars and Knights over level 30 who will gladly sacrifice themselves for the sake of humanity. She asks him how exactly Arya is excellent compared to them. Han Wu is shocked to hear this. The Saintess again asks him the same question. He loudly replies that her potential makes her perfect. The Saintess tells him that he is probably right. In a few years, she will be a beautiful young lady. Han Wu smiles and tells the Saintess that he is talking about her talent. She replies that he already has several friends who exude talent. She also tells him that while he is stuck at level 1, some of his fellows have already become level 6 in the last 5 days. Han Wu is surprised. He feels they laugh at him and make fun of him, as he is still at level 1. After that, the Saintess asks him if there is anything he wants to say. Han Wu is ashamed. He begs before the Saintess, saying that Arya is a special comrade of his. So please heal her hand. She refuses his request. Han Wu is shocked. The Saintess tells him that before he demands a favor, he must first prove his worth. She also tells him in the first place why she should repay his debt. She sits in front of him and tells him that she thinks he is making light of the miracle of a Saintess. He replies that he is not. She tells him that in that case, she will share with him the results of the miracles she recently enacted. She orders the priest to read something. The priest starts reading and says, their nation would like to gift the following to the Saintess for healing the great councilwoman. Sela bless 15 spirit swords holding the essence of the forest, 200 ancient moonlight tree bows, 600 tame unicorns, 15 feathers of a phoenix, and 40 other items to prove her value. The heroes are shocked after that. She asks Han Wu if he can prove his value. He replies that she should consider it an investment, as he will quickly get stronger. She tells him to talk after he becomes more robust. Han Wu is pissed off. He also overhears his fellows bad-mouthing him. He becomes sad suddenly. Eubora raises her hand and tells the Saintess she might be overstepping by asking for this favor. She asks her if she could take in that swordswoman as her comrade. The Saintess thinks that Eubora seems to be ostracized by the other heroes for some reason, but she has too much potential to be left as is. She wonders what she should do after that. The Saintess tells her that if an excellent hero like her wants her, then she can make that happen. Afterward, the Saintess tells Arya to show her hand to her. The Saintess heals her and says to her that from today, she will be the hero Eubora's sword and shield, and she must not forget that until the moment she dies. Meanwhile, Arya is in shock. As she gets her hand back, she cries. The Saintess tells her to go to hero Eubora's side. Immediately after that, the Saintess tells Prince Alsus that they have wasted too much time on this insignificant incident, so please speed up the rest of the plans. Everyone leaves. Han Wu is so sad. Suddenly Princess Athena comes near him and tells him that he might not have been acknowledged, but he was not in the wrong. She also tells him that he is the one who brought Arya to the temple. She also thanks him for saving her childhood friend. Han Wu is surprised to hear that. After that, Princess Athena gives him something and tells him that this is a token of her gratitude. A magic formation forms. She tells him to be her second apprentice. Han Wu is shocked. He also gets the blessing of magic. Princess Athena wishes him the best of luck. After that, she leaves. Han Wu smiles and says he does not know that Princess Athena has a crush on him. Han Wu stands up and loudly says, let's start again. On the other hand, Kong is fighting with the orcs. They are running away from him for their lives. He kills them individually. Kong says that another day, another horde picked a fight with him. After some time, he kills them. Kong thinks these guys are not calling over their comrades, like Knowles did, but because this place is plain. He also does not have a place to hide. He says that their animals are also not his food. After that, he comes near to Cogmos. He sees that he does not have any horns. Kong asks him if he hides them with magic. He replies that it is a simple trickery spell, since they must enter a city now. Kong asks him why he didn't do that from the start. Cogmos tells him that they have impeded his region. He also tells him that it would look weirder if a lowly human were still alive, with half their body ripped apart. Meanwhile, Kong thinks about Cogmos as he finds him, brighter than a knoll. Kong believes that he said it was the second closest city, so he thought they would get there pretty fast. Suddenly, he hears a voice. On the other hand, orcs attack a convoy. A fight starts between orcs and humans. Kong is watching everything. Cogmos tells him it is okay if he does not help them. He replies that just because he is a demon does not mean he wants to marry the granny demon. King Cogmus apologizes to him. Kong tells him to let's watch. For now, he can at least avenge them later. Cogmus calls him heartless. Kong thinks it might be brutal, but it cannot be helped, as he still cannot trust all the humans in this world. On the other side, orcs beat their opponents. Some human guards are standing in front of the cart. It seems they are protecting something. One of the orcs tells his fellows that it looks like a female is there. His fellow replies that he ignores it and grabs the food, as this is better for them. Suddenly, two females come out of the cart. They are ready to fight with the orcs. The leader of the orcs tells them they will leave them, but it seems they want to die. One lady uses her magic power and throws fireballs at the orcs. The other one uses her sword skills and jumps to kill them. She has some water powers. There is a blast that happens. Kong is shocked to see this and asks Cogmus if it is magic. He replies that it is nothing. Kong tells him that he does not like this. Cogmus asks him if he is unhappy, that the innocent humans have survived. He replies that he thinks it is a shame, that he lost his chance to avenge them. Kong feels these girls look like they are the world's elites. He bets on getting on good terms with people. With power like this, he thinks that would make his life with these barbaric fantasy people easier. Meanwhile, the girls are fighting with the orcs. Suddenly he shouts that there is a lovely female pig here. Cogmos is shocked to hear this. Kong thinks that thanks to the hero's curse, those humans won't understand the meaning of his shout, but these orcs are going to understand it perfectly. On the other side, the girls are in shock. More orcs are coming meanwhile. Cogmus thinks that Kong used his curse to call the orcs. After that, Kong says that it is time to help these ladies. Cogmos tells him that this is different from his original goal. He replies that the plan changes sometimes. The girls are panting and the orcs are laughing at them. Kong also comes. Their orcs are surprised to see him. Kong sees things looking fine here, so he should wait longer. The orcs leader is confused about why he is here. He replies that he is just an apostle of the outsider, who is passing by. The orcs tell Kong that it seems he has no fear. One of them swings his sword at Kong, but Kong saves himself by jumping. Instantly, all the orcs prepare to kill him. Kong puts his fingers into the nostrils of one orc and throws him away. Everyone is shocked to see this. Kong finds this method funny, but also nasty. Suddenly, the other orcs attack him at once, but every time he saves himself. Kong now sees through their attacks. The red orc attacks him multiple times. Meanwhile, Cogmus angrily tells Kong why he let his guard down. Kong cuts the red orc's hand, and the girls are shocked to see this. Kong asks Cogmus what he wants him to watch out for. He replies that it was nothing. Kong also notices that this one orc has turned red, which means he is related to Noel's. Kong realizes he shouldn't have killed him, as he could have observed him further. After that, the guards thank Kong for saving their lives. Kong smiles, and now he can understand some words. He thinks that studying is starting to pay off. Meanwhile, God is uncomfortable with Kang's strange act. After that, some orcs think he is tired, so they can attack and kill him quickly. Kong throws the arm of the red orc. The orc is shocked to see this. Afterwards, Kong tells the orcs that can turn red to raise their hands. One orc asks him how he can speak orc. Kang's eyes turn red, and he replies that they can forget it if they cannot. After some time, Cogmus comes near Kong and tells him he is okay. Kong replies that he is not asking about himself, and points his finger at the guards and girls who are looking shocked. Kong realizes he used the power of Null. He tells Cogmus to do something about this. Cogmus goes near the guards and introduces himself. He tells them he is sure they can tell from his unique name, but his friend here does not know how to speak the common Western language. One of the girls is shocked to hear about Kong. Cogmo sees the girl's status window and notices she has a hero's curse, an AC rank. Fairy's blessing. He tells Kong that it is a fantastic symbol of trust, considering how even humans who marry a fairy are our rank at best. Kong replies that the precious first time the fairy took from him works in his favor like this. He gets angry and says, the whole misunderstanding is that damn goddess's fault. In the first place, the girl comes near Kong and says something. Kagome tells Kong that she is apologizing for doubting her savior. Kong smiles and thinks that he has managed to secure an excellent translator and is finally gaining the trust of the locals. Meanwhile, God is uncomfortable. Kong tells him to calm down as he will tell him his secret. Instead, at night, Kong is sitting near the bonfire. God comes near and tells him that being impotent is not a sin. Kong replies that it is all his blessing's fault. He guesses he should be glad as he is not upset anymore. Kong thinks that with this cheat, like blessing, there is a pro that also has a massive con. It is that all statuses return to normal. He becomes sad and says it has been a while since he has done anything. Suddenly a lady comes near to him and calls his name. Kong sees her and thinks that her name is Julia. She is a noble lady who attends a famous fantasy academy. He says that this is a bit of a pickle, as his damn translator is already asleep. Meanwhile, the lady sits far away. He wonders why she says his name and then sits far away. Maybe she wants to tell him to go away. At the same time, the lady is staring at him. Suddenly, she seems to want to say something to him again. She shows him her dagger. Kong thinks she is telling him to show his powers too. Kong shows her his hand with no power. She is in shock to see this. Suddenly, she comes near to him and repeats something. She looks worried. Kong does not know what happened to her. He thinks that maybe she is angry to see his dagger, as it is small. After that, the lady goes away. Kong says that a woman's heart is hard to figure out. Meanwhile, the god laughs at him and says that someone impotent does not need to know. Outside the dormitory, the guards stop Han Wu, but he tells them they cannot stop him as he is also a hero. The mage master replies that he is a failed hero. Han Wu is shocked to hear this. The master tells him that, since he has left the temple and lost its support, he now has 3 options. The first option is to receive the Independence Fund and give up, in which case he is no longer allowed to claim himself to be a hero. If he is ever found breaking that rule, he will be executed. Han Wu is saddened by this. The master tells him that the second option is to return to training, but he can only be supported once he shows a promising score. Han Wu thinks about how his classmates will make fun of him. He is now curious about the third option. The master explains that the third option is to entrust his body to the temple, where they will take care of everything for him, from finding a noble to marry to ensuring his retirement. However, he is not allowed to leave the temple for the rest of his life. Han Wu quickly decides to pick the first option, thinking he cannot live his life trapped. The master gives him a contract to sign. Han Wu asks why they need a warranty for this purpose. The master explains that it would be wrong for a hero who leaves the temple to ruin the reputation of the remaining heroes, so it is a safety device. The master then gives Han Wu some independence funds and a few identities to replace his status as a hero. Han Wu is happy after receiving the funds and remarks how this differs from the novels. The master is surprised, but Han Wu quickly tells him to ignore it, as he was just talking to himself. Han Wu reflects on how in fantasy novels, characters who abandon kingdoms or temples are viewed as hypocritical and evil. Han Wu asks the master if he can use the money however he wants. The master allows it, leaving the temple. Han Wu considers how tempting it is to get together with a noble girl. However, he decides that his path is different, as he is going to live as a real hero. Afterward, he heads to the slave market. Meanwhile, a helper informs the saintess that hero Han Wu has deserted his mission. The saintess worries about the decreasing number of heroes. She thinks it will become a problem if the numbers don't increase, as there are only 2 saintesses on the continent of Fantasia. Once the real fight begins, she will have to bear everything herself. The saintess asks her helper about the fairy kingdom, and hears that the number of gnolls has decreased. The helper explains that it is said a mysterious order of knights eradicated the gnolls in the forest. The saintess is surprised to hear this, and comments that they think it was a small elite squad that mastered the same swordsmanship. The saintess notes that this is not something an order of knights could accomplish. The helper suggests it might be the work of a demon king. The saintess is shocked, and the helper quickly apologizes for her slip of the tongue. The saintess advises caution, saying that sudden judgment can be dangerous, but it acknowledges that this crisis rivals an invasion from a demon king. She orders the helper to investigate if a demon king is involved. The saintess reflects that the demon kings are mainly located in the east, with a few active in the central region. However, they are not the type to work in the shadows. She laments the lack of resources to investigate. Suddenly, a mage master arrives and informs her of a communication from the academy. He explains that the academy would like to invite the heroes to commemorate the school break. The saintess is shocked that the academy knows about the summoned heroes. He asks how this information leaked. The mage master explains that a student saw hero Hanwha's status window at the mercenary guild. She sighs, thinking it was a mistake to let him act alone. She believed he would tire quickly in return. She also notes that while it is good for the existence of heroes, the hope of humanity to become known, they are still far too weak. She considers the academy's invitation as an opportunity for the heroes to meet a teacher or a valuable comrade. She tells the mage master that they will review the invitation favorably. Suddenly, A knight arrives and reports that they found a bag containing a hero's personal belongings. The saintess is shocked to hear this. Elsewhere, Cogmos and Kong are sitting in a cart. Kong observes that the girls they are traveling with are mercenaries. Cogmos confirms this, saying it is obvious. One of the guards says something to Kong. Cogmos translates, explaining that the guard is asking how Kong is so strong, despite being only level 1, and what his training method is. Kong smiles and remarks that it is a superficial reason to talk to someone. Cogmos asks if he should translate it as Kong being uncomfortable with their degenerate greed. Kong stops him. Cogmos tells Kong that he doesn't have to hold back, as asking about people's training methods is rude in the first place. He also explains that while a strong body is an asset for mercenaries, they tend to be shameless in their curiosity. Kong replies that it is okay for mercenaries to be shameless. Cogmos warns him not to twist his words, explaining that lies don't always work. He adds that it is common for mercenaries to fight over a quarrel, and Kong suddenly sees his status window and is shocked. The experience penalty that inhibits his growth only applies to hunting and achievements. It doesn't affect experience gained through other means. Kong asks Cogmos what he has to do to become a mercenary. Cogmos replies that he has found a way to become stronger. After some time, Kong and Cogmos finally reach the city. Kong is initially excited, but suddenly becomes sad. Cogmos notices and asks why he isn't happy. Kong replies that there's a rotten stench lingering around the city entrance. Cogmos explains that it's natural, since travelers from all walks of life gather at the city gates, and many of them are unable to wash while in transit. He also reminds Kong that he isn't one to talk, since he reeks of orc blood. Kong is offended and tells Cogmos he can't believe how easily he says such hurtful things. Cogmos snaps back, saying Kong shouldn't be complaining either. Kong changes the topic and mentions that the mercenary group they were traveling with disappeared when they entered the city. Cogmos tells him not to worry, as mercenaries often follow their own agendas and move within clear parameters. Kong, now on his own, decides to try some food. He grabs some fruit, looking happy and excited as Cogmos teases him about his appetite. Cogmos reminds Kong they have business to handle, as the ladies they're accompanying are waiting for him. Kong agrees reluctantly later. One of the women expresses her gratitude for saving her life and suggests they all stay at the same inn. Kong agrees to the plan, but Cogmos doesn't seem thrilled. Kong then asks when they'll head to the mercenary guild. Cogmos insists that Kong clean up first, if he doesn't want to be thrown out of the guild. The moment he steps in at the inn, Kong freshens up and his clothes are cleaned by a slime-trained creature that eats dirt off the fabric, like a natural washing machine. Kong is fascinated by the slime and even plays with it, but Cogmos warns him that trained slimes are expensive and worth their weight in gold, so he shouldn't even think about taking one. After cleaning up, Kong complains that he doesn't have good clothes to wear. Cogmos, having anticipated this, reveals that he already bought clothes for Kong. Though reluctant, Kong changes into them. However, when he steps outside the inn, he feels dissatisfied with his appearance and annoyed. Meanwhile, Cogmos is enjoying himself with the ladies, which makes Kong a bit jealous. He mutters to himself, hoping Cogmos gets some divine punishment. To Kang's surprise, the ladies soon join them, looking stunning and drawing the attention of everyone around. One of them apologizes for being late, but Cogmos reassures her, saying they just arrived. Kong, however, is annoyed and asks Cogmos to suggest eating something delicious first. Cogmos agrees and offers to take them to a restaurant. Julia, one of the ladies, says something to Kong and Cogmos translates it, explaining that she's interested in going wherever Kong wants. This catches Cogmos off guard and visibly irritates him. Kong, now smiling, tells Cogmos to inform her that he also wants to eat. On the other side of the city, Hanwoo arrives at the slave market. He is shocked by how proudly it operates. As he walks through the market, he spots a muscular, enslaved man and thinks he'd be perfect for errands. However, Hanwoo is also appraising other enslaved people, trying to determine the best choice. Suddenly, someone comments that those slaves aren't good. Hanwoo turns to see a fellow hero he recognizes from his training days. He's shocked and curious about why the boy is there with a large, intimidating man. The boy casually explains that he left the training program as well and took the independence money. Just like Hanwoo, Hanwoo nervously tells him to keep it a secret. The boy laughs and assures him there's nothing to worry about. He even suggests they get along, since they're now in the same situation. The boy offers to share useful information with Hanwoo and points to a man in the market, explaining that he's in charge of premium slaves, who aren't displayed publicly. He adds that if the man finds out Han Wu is a hero, he'll introduce him to better options. Han Wu is shocked, but listens as the boy explains that technically, checking someone's status window isn't against the contract. Han Wu agrees with his logic. The boy then asks Han Wu if he has decided on which enslaved person to buy. Han Wu refuses to answer, feeling suspicious of the boy's overly friendly behavior, especially since they never interacted much back on Earth. As Han Wu leaves the market, the boy calls out, inviting him to come to the inn at the eastern city gate later, to show off his slave if he wants to boast. Han Wu agrees, but remains cautious, thinking the boy seems too friendly for someone who hardly spoke to him in the past. Meanwhile, the boy watches him leave and notes to himself that Han Wu is surprisingly careful. Han Wu, armed with a strong clue about his ideal choice, approaches the man in charge of the slave market. He declares his intention to buy an enslaved person. The man, upon reading Han Wu's status window and realizing he's a hero, becomes enthusiastic and warmly welcomes him. After some small talk, the man asks Han Wu what kind of warrior he's looking for. Han Wu surprises him by requesting a strong female warrior. Intrigued, the man tells Han Wu that they have someone fitting his description and decides to make an exception by showing her to him. The man leads Han Wu to a private area, keeping him curious when they arrive. He reveals a powerful female warrior named Marasi, who was once a notorious bandit, operating in the northern regions of the Night Kingdom. She ended up enslaved after her subordinates betrayed her. Han Wu is stunned to see her. The man elaborates that Marasi is incredibly strong, capable of wielding a massive two-handed axe with ease. He instructs her to display her status window, revealing that she's level 17 and possesses multiple blessings, despite the slave curse. The man explains that the slave curse binds a person to a master, nullifying their free will and ensuring absolute obedience. He assures Han Wu that a proper command can prevent any betrayal. Despite his reassurances, Han Wu remains slightly uneasy. The man, sensing his hesitation, laughs and insists he's offering her at no profit to honor Han Wu as a hero. Han Wu, however, clarifies that he's searching for a strong, yet slender female warrior, not necessarily someone as intimidating as Murasaki. The man agrees to let him choose from their stock, and remarks that Han Wu's blessings will undoubtedly guide him. Han Wu takes his time inspecting the candidates, and eventually picks 3 female slaves. The man introduces them as Lusa, a level 6 red-haired woman with a charm, blessing Sarah, a more slender and agile warrior, Kana, a robust yet lithe combatant. The man finalizes the ownership transfer by destroying their previous contracts, and emphasizes the importance of giving clear orders, as there have been instances of slaves rebelling or escaping. Han Wu nods, pays the man, and thinks to himself that with proper care and love, these women will never betray him. He then commands them to follow him, stating that they'll purchase weapons for their upcoming missions. The women obey him without question, and Han Wu smiles satisfied with his new companions. Meanwhile, Ken is struggling at the mercenary guild. He reflects that while eating and visiting the guild went smoothly, he didn't anticipate needing to provide a signature for registration. Frustrated, he realizes he never learned how to write properly. Cogmus notices his struggle and reassures him that many mercenaries face the same issue. He hands Kong a paper with a sample signature and advises him to copy it. Kong, though annoyed, reluctantly tries. 10 painstaking minutes later, Kong finally finishes copying the signature. Proud of his work, he looks excited. But Cogmus bursts into laughter, teasing him about how laborious the process was. Kong, confused by the reaction, watches as the receptionist accepts the paper and completes his registration. Suddenly, Kong feels a strange sensation. He's blessed with a mercenary blessing and is assigned AD rank on his first evaluation. Cogmo smiles and explains that Kong should thank the 2 ladies nearby, as they vouch for his skills with their own high ranks. Kong feels embarrassed but refuses to thank them directly. Cogmus scolds him and jokes that he'll buy Kong a children's picture book to practice writing soon. The ladies approach Kong and one hands him a scroll. Curious, Kong reads it. Cogmus translates, revealing that it's Kang's first mission. Orc subjugation. The task is straightforward: reduce the orc population and prevent their reproduction. The reward is based on the number of orc noses he brings back. Kong is delighted, calling it a sweet gig, and immediately starts plotting. He mischievously considers using the pretty ladies as bait for the orcs. Unbeknownst to him, the women are watching him closely, possibly suspecting his thoughts. Cogmus interrupts Kang's scheming and asks if another slaughter is on his mind. Kong denies it, smirking, and declares this time it won't be slaughter. It'll be destruction. Kong and his group find themselves in the midst of an intense battle. Against the orcs, Julia is fiercely fighting but gets caught off guard when an orc grabs her by the face and slams her down with tremendous force. Injured but resilient Julia tries to recover. Her companion quickly intervenes, telling her to duck as she hurls a fireball at the attacking orc. The flames engulf the creature, saving Julia. Grateful Julia thanks her, but the girl advises her not to push herself too hard, reminding her that tougher battles lie ahead. Julia, brushing off the concern, assures her that she can handle this much. Suddenly, to their shock, the injured orc rises again, ready to strike just as it appears dire. Another orc attacks the first one from behind, and both fall lifeless. Meanwhile, Lusa, the daughter of a count, observes Kong from a distance, having met king's merchants, knights, and even fairies in her privileged life. She reflects that none of them are as unique as Kong, who is relentlessly slaughtering the orcs. Kong, wielding his null power dagger, cuts through the orcs with ease, despite the limitations of the hero curse, which could lead to suspicion of him being a demon. However, his fierce blessing, considered the ultimate certification of a person's true identity, silences any doubts. The remaining orcs, terrified of Kong, try to flee, but he relentlessly chases them, driven by a single-minded determination to exterminate them. Liao, worried, shouts for Kong to stop and rest. Surprised, Kong halts and notices Lusa sitting down. Seemingly exhausted, she contemplates Kang's efforts, marveling at how he has nearly eradicated all the orcs in the area without even breaking a sweat. Julia soon joins her, asking if she's okay. Noticing Leah's tired demeanor, Julia teases her for asking for a break first. Lusa retorts, pointing out Julia's shaking legs, which embarrasses her slightly. Julia then praises Kong, calling him amazing. Lusa agrees, crediting his blessings, but Julia clarifies, saying it's not the blessings, but his sheer talent. Julia elaborates that Kang's swordsmanship is on a different level. She explains that his technique is dangerous and unstable, with the potential to destroy his body if he makes even the smallest mistake. And yet he's been maintaining it all day. Shocked, Luca questions if such a thing is even possible. Julia admits she isn't sure, noting that even she was considered a genius while growing up, but Kang's skill seems beyond that. Meanwhile, Cogmo suggests they take a break. He hands Kong a step-by-step picture book to help him learn the common language. Kong begins reading, drawing the attention of the girls who silently watch him. Meanwhile, Julia announces that she has reached level 15, causing Lusa to feel slightly envious. As the gap between them grows, she reflects on the system that makes it easier to level up and rank higher the stronger someone is, while a drop in rank results in losing all associated benefits. Julia then declares her goal of achieving B rank. Shocking Leah, she warns Julia not to push herself too hard, but Julia brushes it off, saying they'll be fine with Kong around. Julia adds that while Kong seems overly focused on hunting, he is also deeply preoccupied with ensuring their safety. Lusa teasingly remarks that Julia, who claimed to have no interest in men, seems quite interested in Kong. Julia defensively denies it, explaining that observing another person's movements is essential for mastering swordsmanship. After finishing his reading, Kong suddenly tells the group that it's time to move, surprised by his quick adaptability. The girls follow him. Lusa silently observes Kong, marveling at how he is both a simpleton and an enigma, a mage and scholar with a raw, untamed nature. She concludes that while he piques her curiosity, she might need to teach him how to properly speak with women first. Meanwhile, in a distant temple, a group of knights and a mage master present a mysterious bag to the saintess. In the temple, the saintess watches intently as the bag is opened, revealing its mysterious contents. She examines the objects carefully and remarks that they are not of this world. The mage master confirms her suspicion, pointing out the exceptional craftsmanship and unusual printing on the items. Intrigued, she asks where the bag was found. The mage master explains that it was discovered in the Knoll Forest, where the heroes once trained. He also mentions the knight who brought it to their attention. The saintess questions the knight directly, asking how many people know about the bag's existence. The knight assures her that only he and the commander of the knights are aware of it. And the commander had ordered him to report directly to her. Satisfied, the saintess acknowledges his diligence and praises his efforts, promising to ensure he serves the temple for life. Overjoyed, the knight bows in gratitude. But her tone sharpens as she commands him to forget everything about the bag, warning him that failure to do so will result in his death. The knight solemnly agrees and leaves with the priest. Once alone with her assistant, the saintess contemplates the bag's significance. She orders her assistant to study the lettering on the bag and learn its pronunciation from one of the heroes in the temple, emphasizing the importance of keeping her intentions secret. The assistant promises to follow her orders. The saintess ponders the situation. Suspecting the bag's existence might be a mistake of the gods, she hesitates, questioning whether covering up its discovery is the right course of action. Before she can dwell further, her assistant interrupts, reporting a serious incident in the forest hunter village. Confused, the saintess listens as the assistant explains that the councilwoman Sis attempted to cover up a brutal murder incident. The bodies of the perpetrator and sacrificed fairies were found, and the villagers claim it was the act of a vengeful spirit. The scientist considers the possibility that the so-called vengeful spirit might simply be a survivor who exacted revenge. She orders her assistant to acquire a sketch of the alleged outsider to investigate further. Meanwhile, Kong sits by a bonfire at night studying a picture book. His quiet moment is interrupted as the god observing him comments on the book. Kong jokingly asks if the god enjoys the book, and the god replies affirmatively. Curious, Kong asks about the whereabouts of the other gods. Wanting to avoid them, the god points in a direction, implying most gods reside near the temples. Kong deduces that the Order Temple and the saintess of the evil goddess must be nearby, deciding it's best to flee northeast until he grows strong enough to confront them. Suddenly, Kong senses something unusual. Humans have surrounded the camp. He wakes up Cogmus and alerts him to the danger. Cogmus confirms Kang's observation and asks how he can sense the attackers' levels from a distance. Kong explains that gnolls possess a similar ability, leaving Cogmos impressed without wasting time. Kong wakes the girls, who spring into action. Alarmed by the imminent threat, the group leader of the attackers steps forward, speaking in his native tongue. Cogmos translates, revealing that the group demands Kang's spoils from monopolizing all the orcs in the area. He adds that the attackers promise to spare the noble ladies, but will surely kill the rest if they resist. Kong smiles mischievously, mocking the attackers, calling them classy bastards. The girls shout in defiance, preparing to fight, while Cogmus nervously reminds Kong of the attackers' superior numbers. Kong, however, remains eerily calm, smiling as he mutters something incomprehensible. Cogmus grows concerned, asking if Kong is all right, but Kong ignores the question, stepping forward with resolve. As the tension escalates, Kong whispers they should go to the afterlife together. Kong thinks that the opponents are more than he expects. After that, he sees the girls and feels that it is going to be hard to fight while protecting them. Suddenly, he comes up with an idea and shouts that strong females are here. The opponents are shocked, but they shoot arrows at them. Kong stops them by throwing away their arrows. Meanwhile, he runs towards them and kills the man. The people are shocked as the orcs also arrive. The orcs fight with them. Everyone is shocked to see the orcs there, except for Kong, who smiles and says that now this is a double EXP event. After that, Kong moves with the speed of light to kill them all. The man is frightened by Kong and begs for his life. Suddenly, his leader arrives and pushes him back. He tells Kong angrily that he will kill him. Kong replies that he is impressed as the man is still okay, even though Kong struck him. The man uses his powers so he can attack Kong. Suddenly, an orc arrives to kill him, but the man's subordinates kill the orc. After killing the orc, they all team up and run towards Kong to kill him. Kong uses his null power dagger to kill them, but the leader attacks him from behind. The man smiles after hitting him. Kong tells the man it is a shame for him. Man gets scared of him after that. Kong runs his hand across his body and kills him. Afterwards, he sees the girls. He notices both girls fighting with the men and doing well. He realizes that both girls are looking busy as they kill everyone there. After some time, he comes to the market with the orcs' noses. He tells the lady that these are enough. She is shocked to see so many orcs' noses. Kong says he could have gotten more without the nobles. The lady, Cogmos, tells him he is dumb as they are nearly dying from exhaustion. Kong replies that he knows she means Lusa, that he has completed the proof of request. The girls are happy. Cogmus translates and tells Kong that they are saying they leveled up 2 whole levels while hunting with him. Julia is at level 16 and Cogmus is at level 20. Kong smiles and says that even a mediocre demon like this guy is level 20. He wonders how much he has leveled up. Kong is at level 1. He asks the god what is going on in the world. Meanwhile, the god is staring off into a galaxy far away. The world in the beginning is empty. Stars form in the open world, and after a long time, living beings are born. This is a tale about a certain god. The living beings soon start finding out about it. People start praying to God, and hence it becomes a god. The reciting beings want God's help, and by giving them support, God feels the reason for existence is worthwhile. However, more gods appear over time, and they help the living beings in each of their ways, like it's a competition. As the reciting beings receive the grace of the gods, they progress in various ways. But the countless lives that cannot come to terms with each other, fight violently, and die in vain. Time passes. One day a man in the cave is dying. The god comes near him and asks him if he wants to live. He replies that he does. The god turns him into a baby. After that, the god goes to the nearby village. There is an older man with his wife. God blesses him with a child. In this way, the particular god is proud of the outcome. After some time, God comes to visit a baby who is now a young boy. The god asks the boy how he is going. Boy looks at him with curiosity. The boy knows her, as she is the one who turned him into a baby. Duncan asks him if he wants something else. The boy is trembling and grinds his teeth. He angrily tells God that he will curse her. He tells her that the woman he loves was taken away from him because she made him into a baby. The god becomes sad and replies that she never asked for a woman. He tells her that he was supposed to stop the wedding and save her. Himself, God apologizes to him and leaves. The boy yells and tells her to take the responsibility. Meanwhile, the god thinks about where they went wrong and how the other gods are doing. On the other side, a man is paying his tribute to the god and asks for help so they can have a safe voyage. A certain war god is cheering them. At the same time, God is still confused. God blesses several other lives afterward. However, every single one of them resents God. Hundreds of more years pass. The world changes as time goes by. More living beings think of God as a tool. So the gods make new rules. Like heroes, demons, levels, blessings, and curses, the gods adjust to the new order. Except for one god. Suddenly, the god notices there is a man named Cain. His foot is injured, and there is a lady with him. He tells her to call the saintess right now. She tells him that she did something else while he was fighting. The boy is in so much pain. The status window shows he is at level 38, with many blessings and curses. Instantly, the god comes there and asks the boy if he wants to live. The boy is surprised and says he wants to a particular god, warns that he will lose everything. The boy replies that it is better than dying in vain. Like this, God smiles. She gives him a blessing as God gives their blessings. They think about how they are still needed. The boy is cured. He is happy as his body is back to how it was. Suddenly, the boy notices that he is at level 1. He is in shock. God drills him to remember his warning. He replies that he knows everything. He tells the god that what's important is that he is alive. He has to start again from level 1. The god is at ease after listening to this. After some time, their group fellow Cain tells him he can no longer participate with them, as he is not leveling up. The lady says sorry to him and tells him to forget her. Then they leave him behind. Cain becomes angry and says that this is a blessing. It is the worst curse. Meanwhile, a certain god is watching him. Suddenly, Cain smiles and says he was angry, but now feels nothing. He says that his god saves his life. He will stop the resentment and complaints. He tells God that he wants to give her a word of advice. God is so curious. Cain tells her not to give anyone a blessing ever again. This is a curse that takes away things more valuable than life. He also tells her that a gift takes him back to level 1 every time, and there won't come a day when he uses it again. Even in death, God is shocked. They had been staying in denial until then, but God finally admits it. They are no longer needed in this world again. More time passes and God finds a dying boy again. He is Kong. It is a simple curiosity for God. She blesses him because he has the hero's curse and is about to die. She may have changed her blessing's name, but he would inevitably resent her if he learned the truth. Now in the present day, as God predicted, Kong finds out the secret of the blessing. Suddenly, Kong speaks loudly that this is too bad. As the levels are resettled, he tells the god that it is evident. If he thinks about it, he just wasted his time exterminating pigs. Meanwhile, a certain god is quizzical. Suddenly Kong shouts that they must buy some picture books. God start praying. Kong asks her what he is praying for. He replies that it is a secret. On the other side, Han Wu is lying on the ground a little injured. He sees that the opponents beat his girls. Before this, he and his team were fighting with the gnolls. They killed the gnolls. Han Wu appreciates them and is happy, as they are finally starting to work well together. He tells them they will continue hunting like this, so they should get used to it. Han Wu thinks that the gnolls are at level 4, while he and Kana are at levels 5 and 6, so hunting gnolls should be easy. Now he thinks he may have used almost all his money buying them, but he can now save his money. Suddenly he notices that the gnoll is still alive. Instantly Han Wu uses his blessing of magic and burns the gnoll. Han Wu looks happy and thinks that the magic blessing he got from Princess Athena already has this much firepower, as a unique main character should. Suddenly Park Han-young comes with his guard. He tells Han Wu that he is perfect at fighting and was going to give him a hand if it got dangerous. Han Wu replies that if he is going to hunt, he should do it over there, as he got there first. Park Han-young smiles and replies that he does not want to. Han Wu thinks, as he expected, that this guy is trash in their original world. Park Han-young would always go around in groups bullying people. He also made fun of him and called him dumb. Han Wu thinks that here in this fantasy world, he is the hero and main character, so no one can stop him now. After that, Han Wu tells him to come to him if he can. Park replies that he is ready for it. They are all ready for a fight. Park's slave runs toward them. The girls are frightened to see him. He looks horrifying. Han Wu tells them to go on defense while he gets his magic fireball. Suddenly, the enslaved person punches them one by one. Han Wu is shocked to see this. Park tells Han Wu that it seems he gets what's going on now. Han Wu is angry at him. He asks him if he is using tricks. Park replies that it seems he cannot see that his slave's level was just overwhelmingly higher. Park has an evil smile and tells him he already told him to come at him if he can. The girls are frightened of him. After that, he tells Han Wu to declare that he will hand over his slaves to him. Han Wu is in shock to hear this. On the other side, in the city library, Kong reads picture books. He is watching a weapon book and tells God that he would at least look for a powerful weapon, since he cannot level up. Cogmus tells him that he has been reading too many fairy tale books, and weapons like that have already been confiscated. He also tells him that it seems he forgets that even the human nobles said there was no such thing before they left, so he might have a chance with a treasure island in the sea. Kong tells them that if it is a relic that was so dangerous, the excavations were held off. He smiles and says it is tempting. Kagmo smiles and tells him that the nation's knights guard the entrances of those relics. Kong asks him how strong the knights are. He replies that he can assure him that they are stronger than him. Kong becomes sad and leaves there as he wants some fresh air. After some time, he thinks it is impossible at level 1. He thinks about the knights and recalls that he thought knights were empty tin cans with nothing but glory and bluffs. He becomes sad and thinks it seems there is no way. A particular god cheers him up. Suddenly, an orc comes there and tells him to hand over everything he has. Kong tells him that he is depressed right now. The orc is shocked as Kong is speaking the orc tongue. Kong tells him to go when he is letting him go, but the orc attacks him as he finds him weak. Kong punches him with no power in his chest, and the orc falls. Kong sits on him and tells him he knows how it feels to have his world crash. He is going to punch him again and tell him how there can be no relics to excavate. He is pissed off and asks what he will do in this fantasy world. With no hopes or dreams, he punches the orc multiple times. The orc stops him and tells him that there is a relic. Kong is shocked to hear this. The orc tells him there is a relic, so stop hitting him. Kong tells him he does not lie, as he races his brain to run off. The orc tells him he is not lying, as there is a vast orc relic. After that, King calls him his friend and asks if he can say more about this relic. On the other side, the orc is crying, as there are different dialects in each region. The western continent of Fantasia uses unique adjectives, like a dragon-level knight, or a slim, cowardly monster to express things. Kong thinks, then what does the orc in the middle mean? It means they were good enough. After some time, Kong goes somewhere with the orc. Kong wants to ask him something and calls him a friend again. The orc stops him from calling him a friend. Kong tells him that he should know how lucky he is. He tells him he cannot find a human friend who can communicate with him this well. The orc replies that he is not stupid, as he knows friends do not use violence on each other. Kong smiles. The orc tells him that he may lead the way, but he won't be able to enter. Kong agrees with him. The orc tells him he does not know it has been like that since he was born. After that he tells him they are here as the relic is before them. Kong is surprised and happy to see this. Suddenly he sees nothing there. When he deeply observes and notices that there is relief, the orc is satisfied that he is leaving here. He thinks that Kong is not with him anymore. Meanwhile, Kong is shocked and says he had not seen a city this big earlier. The orc is shocked to see him there. He asks him how he can be here. Kong replies that he is the one who brought him here. The orc tells him this is an orc sanctuary. Only those below level 9 can enter. Kong smiles and says there is no problem as he is at level 1. Suddenly the other orcs throw spears at Kong, but he saves himself. There are so many orcs. And one of them tells Kong that he blames himself for entering the orc sanctuary. He tells Kong that stepping foot here means he is at level 9 at best. The orc tells his fellows to be careful with Kong, as he is so powerful. At the same time, Kong tells them to feel free to stop him. He runs toward the orcs, his eyes sparkling. They are shocked to see him, as Kong is flying on the other side. God is praying for the lives of countless pigs. Kong hides from the orcs, and they cannot find him because of the smell of their people's blood. Conversely, Kong tells the god that this will not end anytime soon. There are so many orcs that are dead. Kong says that from now on, he has been hunting them forever. He feels he is going around in circles trying to find the exit. Suddenly, the other orcs find him and want to capture him so they can eat him. They chase him for some time. They all get tired. But Kong is still energetic and says it's time to end this. After some time he kills them all and sits on their bodies. There are some slimes too. Kong is happy as he buys some slimes to gather the orc bodies for him. Kong is waiting to see if any changes have happened. He looks at his status window and finds that his slaughter is now at rank C. But he gets a new curse massacre. This curse means the orcs he killed will haunt him in his dreams. He is slightly worried, but later he relaxes as he doesn't sleep. Kong says that his curse got more powerful and another curse was added. He tells the god that this is too much for him. After that he tells God that the cost of saving people is a curse, so he finds it unfair. A particular god replies that he should look at it from the orc side. Kong thinks he brought together all the people captured by the orcs. Whenever he saw them, they were saying something to him. Kong stepped down and felt that he should bring Cogmos with him. After that, Kong calls an orc who is playing dead. He tells him he knows that he is alive. So come up here. He asks the orc how to leave this place, as no matter how much he walks, he ends up in the same spot. The orc tells him that this city has a different entrance and exit, and the city's center is the only exit. Kong is curious about this and thinks he should go to the center, not the outskirts. After some time, he comes near the point and thinks this is the exit the orc was discussing. He sees the place and says that there does not seem to be anything special. He believes he should use some magic to open a portal, since it is a fantasy world. Suddenly light comes from the point. An orc tells Kong that he is the human who destroyed their base and asks him to answer his question. Kong thinks that the orc's entrance is considerably fancy, and he knows that this orc is stronger than him. Kong tells him that he asked to move the orcs, but they didn't. The orc leader tells him that for this only reason, he massacred 300,000 orcs. He tells Kong that he is the guardian of the city and the orcs. He tells Kong that he will not let a single human who knows the secret of this city escape. Kong puts down his bag and tells him it is better for him, as he finds a guardian. Kong is ready to fight with him. He tells him that being a guardian means there is a treasure to be protected. Kong jumps and uses his null power to attack him. Kong thinks he will give it his all in one blow. The guardian of the orcs is also ready for the fight. He throws his spear toward Kong and their energies collapse. Kong discovers that this orc is on another level compared to the other orcs. The guardian cuts Kang's hand and injures one of his eyes. Kong falls. The guardian is impressed with him and tells him that he instantly dodged a fatal hit. He also tells him that he will not stop there, and that he will now make him pay for the 300,000 ORC lives. He tells Kong that he does not think he will have an easy death. On the other hand, Kong uses his powers to recover himself. He smiles and tells the guardian that he is a fantastic judge. The guardian tells Kong that he knows he has something he is relying on, and asks him if he is immortal. Kong replies that it is like something, implying that he has a power that keeps him going. The guardian dismisses it, stating that it does not matter because this place is the only exit. He tells Kong that whether it takes a century or a millennium, he will trap him in the city until he dies of old age. Kong thinks to himself that it seems he has nothing to do, and starts contemplating his next move. On the other side, Yubora is sitting in her room. When Arya comes in and mentions that she is at level 7 and is fantastic, Yubora replies that it is all thanks to her blessing, and although she didn't receive the hero's blessing, through her efforts, she had a noble's blessing since birth. She then looks at her status window, a bit surprised. Arya tells her that this proves she is the Duke's daughter. A rank noble. Yubora thinks this is fantastic, but she also sees it as a blessing that gives her an easy pass in life. Arya then tells Yubora that, despite her seemingly insubstantial blessing, she was once harshly scolded by her mother for thinking she didn't deserve it. Arya fiercely dares her to repeat this to the countless people who sacrificed everything to acquire such blessings. Yubora reflects that blessings come with responsibilities and thanks Arya for giving her such a good lesson. Afterward, Arya asks Yubora if she thinks the hero Hanwoo will be okay. Yubora asks if Arya likes him, and she responds that she is not sure. Just then someone knocks on the door, announcing that the Saintess is coming to meet Yubora. Arya is shocked to hear this, and the Saintess enters, apologizing for visiting at such a late hour. The Saintess greets Yubora and mentions that she came to chat. She tells Arya to bring some tea, and after a while, they begin their conversation. The Saintess asks Yubora if she has any trouble living in Fantasia. Yubora replies that she has not had too much trouble. The Saintess expresses that she is happy to hear that Yubora has adjusted well in this new world. The Saintess then shifts the topic to the heroes, who are currently competing against each other. She expresses concern about the trouble caused by this competition and asks Yubora to let her know if she sees any signs of it before the heroes become fallen. Both Arya and Yubora are shocked. The Saintess goes on to explain that corrupted heroes, seduced by their blessings, will appear soon. Yubora, now thinking about Kong, wonders if he is safe and if he has made it back home. Suddenly the Saintess asks if she knows someone named Kong. Yubora, startled, spills the tea. She asks why the Saintess is asking about him. The Saintess responds that she knows him a little as a classmate. The Saintess insists that Yubora tell her everything, acting like an older sister. Yubora is taken aback by the Saintess's tone. Later in her room, the Saintess is thinking about Yubora and Kong. She knows that Yubora is very interested in Kong, since she spoke about him for hours. The Saintess holds Kang's badge and reflects on how he is the one who refused to be a hero and was sent back by the goddess. She worries that if word spreads that Kong didn't return, the heroes trust it could damage the relationship with the gods, bringing their faith to rock bottom. The Saintess considers the possibility that it wouldn't be an issue. If Kong died, all she would have to do is hide the evidence. But she's slightly worried if Kong is still alive. Meanwhile, a certain arrogant god of benevolence is watching over her. The Saintess, sensing this, is shocked and starts panting. The god of heroes knows their locations because he gave them the blessings. And the Saintess realizes that if she can't find Kong, her plan could be compromised. The Saintess believes she must act quickly to find him and erase all evidence of his existence. Her most urgent task is to launch a search network without letting anyone know. Meanwhile, the god watches the Saintess, peeking at her plan, and leaves silently. Kong continues his intense battle with the Orc Guardian, determined to fight until his last breath. The Guardian asks him how long he plans to endure this futile struggle, to which Kong replies that he will keep fighting until he dies, constantly attempting to defeat him. Their battle resumes. But Kong continues to fail in overcoming the Guardian's strength, as the ORC spear strikes him repeatedly. In the midst of the battle, a boy named Bruce arrives, announcing that he is at level 9. Bruce was the temporary leader of a group of indigenous people who had been saved from the orc hideout. However, Kane cannot understand what Bruce says, just as the situation is becoming tense. A girl enters the scene, causing Bruce to flee in fear. Kong tells the girl that she can do whatever she wants, while he remains focused on his plans to take down the Orc Guardian. The next morning, Kong, still deep in thought, believes he has devised a good plan to defeat the Guardian. However, he notices the girl sleeping nearby, which intrigues him. The god warns Kong to mind his own business, but Kong remains determined. Thinking that the priority is still to defeat the Guardian of the ruins, he begins meditating, readying himself for the next battle. He believes that using his null powers will be the key to overcoming the Guardian. Kong continues practicing tirelessly, showing his progress to the god. He asks if his moves are similar to the Orc Guardian's swordsmanship, and the god confirms that they are. Kong feels confident after practicing all day and night, and as a result his status window is updated. His blessing level increases, and he feels a sense of accomplishment. However, his joy is short-lived when he notices that his curse level has also increased. The increase in the hero curse means that the goddess has noticed him, and this worries Kong despite the curse. He remains focused and decides that it is time to make his move against the Orc Guardian. Once again, Kong approaches the ruins where the Guardian resides, and the Orc Guardian, seeing Kong return, expresses his surprise. He asks if Kong is ready to die again, but Kong responds that this time he is not running away. The Guardian seems skeptical, but Kong tells him he doesn't care whether the Guardian believes him. The Orc offers to show Kong around the ruins, but Kong quickly realizes that the Guardian has set a trap. He sarcastically remarks that it is shameful for such a great warrior to rely on traps in combat. As Kong observes, he notices that the Guardian cannot escape the ruins, so he formulates a plan to use that to his advantage. With a bit of strategy, Kong intends to get the upper hand. He proceeds through the ruins, but when he arrives, he finds nothing. The Guardian reveals that this place was once a training ground for raising heroes, but not for orcs, as their race was not chosen by any god. He tells Kong that humans became arrogant and careless, which allowed them to take control of this place. The Guardian further explains that the ruins are filled with blessings, but also that they were designed to prevent powerful beings from entering. However, the Guardian believes that as long as he remains alive, it will be impossible to rebuild his city. This is why he intends to kill Kong. Kong smiles as he listens to the Guardian's words, signaling that he is prepared for the next battle. Kong tells the Guardian he wants to ask him a question before they fight. He asks the Guardian if there is treasure in the ruins. The Guardian replies that weapons are lying around for heroes who have just graduated from the training ground. Kong is shocked and thinks about what one could do to that vile goddess with beginner-level weapons. He believes he is doomed suddenly. The Guardian jumps and tells Kong that the talking ends here. He tells him the resentment of 300,000 comrades will be paid back here. Kong instantly takes out his dagger and fights the Guardian. He hits him multiple times with his dagger. The Guardian is shocked and thinks Kong has improved a lot in just one day. Suddenly, the Guardian notices Kong moving toward the exit. He runs to chase him and angrily tells Kong that he will never let him escape from the ruins. He tries to hit him with his spear, but fails. Kong saves himself and tells the Guardian that he has been thinking about how to get out of the ruins since yesterday. Meanwhile, a portal appears. The Guardian is shocked to see it, and Kong also watches the portal. Realizing this is the exit, Kong feels happy and says setting this up peacefully, without fighting, was a good plan. He admits he didn't think he would disappear at all. He says he cannot level up anyway and does not need to work hard. It is enough for him as long as he can get the treasure. The god tells him about the direction of the treasure. Kong sees it and thinks there is a place like this, behind all the destroyed buildings. He believes there really would be treasure there. After some time, he finds the treasure and becomes happy. He holds a sword from the treasure. God tells him it is a beginner hero's holy sword. The sacred sword has a plain appearance without decorations. It is a powerful weapon filled with divine energy that shines brightly. Kong knows this is a weapon for beginners, but he is curious why it was left like this. Kong starts waving the sword. God tells him the holy sword can only be held by heroes. Suddenly, Kong feels the sword becoming heavy. God tells him he can have it as a hero. Kong replies that it means the sword hates cursed heroes. He breaks the sword with his dagger. Kong says he cannot use it, so it is only fair that other heroes cannot. God admires him for his fairness and then destroys every sword there. He picks up the last one and is about to break it, when he suddenly feels this sword is lighter than the others. He realizes this sword does not affect the curse. Kong says that in that case, he will destroy everything else. He destroys everything in the treasure except the last sword. After that, he sees his status window where the curse holy sword is added. Kong gets angry as he receives the holy sword. Curse on the other side, Zhang Meiyan sees Choi at the temple. Choi sees his status window and finds a new blessing. He has so many blessings with no curse at all. He thinks if this is the reward, he will have to put up with it, even though he is tired. He realizes this is what they mean by God's interest, as he gets the blessing in just a few days. Choi thinks the upcoming tournament will be an easy win for him. At this pace of growth, he believes he will prove it to everyone by winning the prize of the holy sword. Conversely, a hero and a demon king, a prince and a princess knights, wicked women, And even tyrants appear like regulars in romantic fantasies. So anyone is okay. Jang Mi-yun is thinking about all this. Suddenly she shouts and asks why she has to fight. The boy tries to calm her down. She feels disappointed because she dreamed of being protected by a handsome knight, but instead she has a Shield A, who is timid and foolish and overall ranked 4th. Shield B, who is selfish and sly and overall ranked 5th. And Shield C, who is a concept freak who listens well and is ranked 7th. She sighs and thinks she only has these 3 shields. Suddenly she apologizes to them for being harsh. Boy asks her why she called them. She replies that there is an important issue, and she called them because of it. She tells them there is secret information. Soon they will be picking a hero to send to the academy. The boy gets annoyed. She tells them she is getting into the academy, and that her true fantasy life begins there. Suddenly a boy who is Shield C bows down in front of her and asks if all those who wish to enter are allowed. Jang Mi-yun replies that priority is given to heroes with high overall scores, and that in total, only 4 people will be selected. The boy tells her there will be bloodshed within the faction, but assures her she has nothing to worry about. After that, another boy asks her why she is sharing this information with them. Jang Mi-yun replies that she wants them to enter together. She also tells them that she is earnest about this. Shield B gets angry and tells her he does not want to clean up her mess with the prince, who rides the white horse she is going out with. Jang Mi-yun promises him she won't do it, and if she breaks her promise, she will grant him a wish. The boy is shocked to hear this. She also tells them that the gods are listening to everything. Suddenly, Shield comes forward and tells Jang Mi-yun that he will come along, as long as she likes it. The third boy also agrees with her. After that, the second boy says that no matter how much he thinks about it, he feels like he is being deceived. But he also agrees with her. Jang Mi-yun becomes happy and thanks everyone. On the other side in the ruins, Kong is so pissed off after getting the curse. He says they cannot curse him just for breaking a couple of swords. After that he reads about the Holy Sword curse. He holds the Holy Sword and says that if destruction, resistance is included even with a defective Holy Sword, then what should he do meanwhile? The god expresses condolences to the Maker. Kong tells her, the Maker probably didn't know a hero would break the Holy Sword. He thinks that out of the countless Holy Swords, only one is left, a Holy Sword that becomes stronger from a curse. After that he tells the god they must leave. From there he comes to the place where he thinks the orc disappeared. Kong asks how he turns on the portal. Suddenly, he notices the orc guardian appearing again, running toward him to kill him. Kong feels that this time a lot has changed. He is ready for the fight. He tells the orc guardian that if he leaves the ruins, he will start to age. The guardian is going to attack him, but Kong is also ready and says it is time to test his holy sword. He hits the orc guardian and the guardian flies away. Kong tells him that now it is his turn to cut his arm. The orc guardian tells him that the price of eating away at his youth is very high. He uses his powers and heals his arm. He tells Kong that he has been ignoring the deaths of 300,000 of his comrades and defending his youth because of his dirty tricks. He jumps and makes a circle of his powers to attack Kong. Kong is conscious of his moves. The orc guardian attacks him, but Kong cuts his neck with the holy sword. Kong tells him that a day has passed, but he has not progressed. Kong says he does not need to use any tricks, explaining that he only used dirty tricks when he was weaker than his opponent. The god tells him that the fight is not over yet. Suddenly Kong notices that the orc guardian is still alive. Regrowing his head, the orc guardian comes at him again, but Kong grabs his face and smashes it into the ground. Kong thinks this time the guardian will surely die, but the orc guardian remains alive. Now annoyed, Kong declares that the guardian will die if he throws him out of the ruins. Suddenly, the orc guardian tells Kong that he has lost and pleads with him not to throw him out of the ruins. He says he will do anything. Kong is surprised by the guardian's sudden plea. The guardian tells him he knows Kong wants to leave this place and offers to move the city's entrance closer to the holy sword. He adds that only a hero can wield the sacred sword. Kong waves the sword and asks if he means this one. Your guardian is shocked and says he already knows Kong is the hero. Kong then checks the guardian's status window and sees that the guardian is at level 8 and also bears the hero curse. Kong is shocked to discover this. The orc guardian explains that it usually happens when someone kills a hero. Kong then asks about the curse of the ruins. The orc guardian explains that it is like a mission. If he is in the ruins, he becomes immortal. He also reveals that he is the final strong opponent to test new heroes. Kong replies that this means he is not a guardian for humans. The orc guardian clarifies that he never claimed to be the guardian of humans, but rather the guardian of the orcs, protecting the homestead of his kind. Kong tells him that even so, he's still lost. The orc guardian starts crying. Kong comments that even the demon he knows has weak tear glands, but the orc guardian is still challenging. The orc guardian asks Kong if he is leaving. Kong replies that earlier he said he would not let him go. The orc guardian tells Kong that it would be good for him to leave immediately. Kong also wants to leave this place as soon as possible, but he finds it hard to trust the orc. After some thought, Kong tells the guardian to send the humans back. The orc guardian agrees and says that the city should not be known to humans, but admits that he cannot refuse Kang's request. Kong cheers up the humans as they prepare to leave. Everyone remains quiet, and some of the humans support Kong on their way. The portal appears, and Kong feels a sense of familiarity, likening it to when the goddess sends him back. He begins to worry that he could be in danger again. Kong asks the orc guardian if he should return here, and what he should do afterward. The orc guardian replies that if Kong speaks to the holy sword, he will hear it. Kong finds the orc unreliable, but the god assures him it is safe. God stresses again that it is secure, and Kong says he believes her. Kong steps into the portal, and they all pass through to the other side. Kong finds the new place odd. He reopens the portal and sends the humans back to the city. Then he tells the god that she said this was a safe place. Looking around, he notices pieces of clothing on the bed, and remarks that a noble woman with a holy sword could have lived here. He observes that the holy sword is displayed as decoration on the wall, making him realize that the owner of this room is no ordinary person. The god again tells him that it is a safe place, but Kong grows annoyed. He replies that it means danger will likely come later. The god confirms his suspicion. Kong says they need to leave this place quickly. Suddenly he notices something is wrong. He sees his bag in the room and becomes curious about why it is there. On the other side at the hunter village, Princess Athena is teaching her students. She tells them that the village has recently been in a state of chaos due to many incidents, so they must be careful not to unsettle the residents. The heroes look curious about her words. Princess Athena warns them to be cautious and not to disturb the saintess. Meanwhile, a villager escorts the saintess to the place where an incident occurred earlier. The saintess observes the area and comments that it seems to have been cleared up. The man suddenly bows down and apologizes to her. The saintess explains that she came here because she heard about a mysterious massacre. She then asks the man if it is true that the elder Celeblos was imprisoned here. The man confirms this, and the saintess asks him if he knows the worth of the elder Celeblos. The man looks confused, and the saintess reassures him that it is fine, whether he knows or not. She explains that the elder Celebos is the guardian of the flame, despite her weakness in direct combat. The animals she raises are incredibly strong, especially the phoenix that earned her the title of guardian of the flame. The saintess goes on to say that disrupting the peace and harmony among humans and fairies is unacceptable, and inducing a war is unforgivable. However, since the person in charge has forgiven the matter, she will not get involved further. The man thanks her deeply. The saintess then asks the man about the person responsible. The man describes him as someone with short black hair, similar to the heroes who visited today. Shocked, the saintess asks for the hero's name, but the man cries and admits he does not know anything more. The saintess concludes that they must now focus on showing the heroes around the village. Her helper notices the saintess is preoccupied thinking about Kong. The saintess admits that she wonders how Kong survived, but knows it must be him. She says that no matter how many blessings he has, it should have been impossible for him to defeat the gnolls at level 1. She compares him to her heroes, noting that even at their best, her heroes could not handle 2 gnolls at level 1. He marvels at how Kong, all alone, managed to defeat. The saintess wonders which god blessed him, since all the gods are currently at the temple. Her helper suggests that if the spirit and the bag's owner are the same person, it confirms the connection. The saintess replies that she can still control the heroes, so it is all right. She considers it dangerous to bring the heroes to the ruins, but decides she won't be caught immediately. She adds that the one who knows Kang's name is dead, and she has concrete evidence. The helper then brings up the tournament information leak. The saintess replies that she already knows about it, and is simply pretending not to. She says that managing data is each person's responsibility. Changing the topic, the saintess mentions that hero Zhang Mian does not seem to be improving enthusiastically. She smiles and says she is unsure why Zhang Mian wants to go to the academy, but promises to do her best to prepare her until the tournament. Elsewhere, rain begins to fall, and the students start getting annoyed. Choi observes the situation and notes that it feels too relaxed, like everyone is on a picnic. He sees no reason to worry about the tournament. Suddenly, Choi notices someone standing in the darkness. Alarmed, he tells the other heroes to call Princess Athena, suspecting the gnolls might appear. Instantly, they realize the person in the darkness is Hero Han-woo, who appears slightly injured. Choi approaches him and remarks that he looks like a mess. Han-woo, shocked to see them there, tells Choi that his injury is an honorary medal of victory. Surprised, Choi asks for clarification. Han-woo explains that it is a token of success from a real battle, something unthinkable for the others. Han-woo challenges Choi to a duel if he does not believe him. Choi agrees, saying he will show Han-woo the difference in their skills. He draws his sword, confident in his abilities. Han-woo, despite knowing that Choi is at a higher level and possesses the blessing of magic, uses his revenge blessing and resolves not to lose the fight. As the fight between Han-woo and Choi is about to begin, Arya steps in between them, urging them to stop. She acknowledges that she cannot prevent the battle entirely, but reminds Choi that Han-woo is injured, and it wouldn't be a fair fight. Han-woo is surprised to see Arya intervene, but Choi agrees, stating that he wants no excuses later and it must be a fair battle. Suddenly, the saintess arrives, her presence commanding attention. She reprimands Han-woo for causing trouble outside the temple and offers to heal him to ensure fairness in the fight. She then turns to Choi, encouraging him to finish it quickly. Choi, confident and ready, taunts Han-woo, claiming that now everyone will witness the skills he honed in real-life combat. Han-woo, deep in thought, recalls the promise he made to himself after witnessing Park Han-young's betrayal and the sadness of the women taken away. He vowed to grow stronger and never let his guard down again. As Han-woo prepares himself, his status window suddenly updates. He notices he has received the blessing of revenge, a unique ability that strengthens him against stronger enemies, targeted for revenge. He briefly thinks about his targets, Park Han-young and Choi Gangman. Fueled by his resolve, Han-woo steps forward, declaring himself as the protagonist of this world. However, his confidence is momentarily shaken when a seemingly simple slime outmaneuvers and defeats him, showcasing a level far higher than his own. His status window updates again, revealing a strange curse that limits his growth. Bewildered, Han-woo wonders how such a curse could have fallen upon him, and why Arya, who should know about it, never warned him. Accepting the situation as the protagonist's fate, Han-woo decides to fight through it. As the battle begins, he launches a fireball at Choi, who easily counters with his superior speed and agility. Thanks to his blessing of speed, their powers clash, creating a spectacle for onlookers. Choi acknowledges Han-woo's improvement over the past few days, but warns him that his magic is still insufficient. Han-woo, determined to prove his worth, gathers his energy and prepares a massive fireball. Choi dismisses it as an ineffective attack and dodges it effortlessly. However, as the fireball explodes, a second, more powerful blast follows, catching Choi off guard. This display of sudden magical growth shocks everyone present. Choi barely manages to evade the attack using all his agility. He mockingly tells Han-woo that landing a single blow would not guarantee victory. Han-woo, frustrated but resolute, retorts that the fight isn't over yet. As the battle intensifies, Choi's blade begins to glow, signaling an ultimate attack. At the same time, Han-woo charges another massive fireball, pushing his limits. Just as their final attacks collide, an enormous explosion erupts, engulfing both combatants in its aftermath. When the dust settles, both Han-woo and Choi are on the ground, visibly shaken and injured. The saintess, observing the chaos, orders her helper to clear the area immediately. Though the fight ends without a clear winner, it leaves everyone in awe of the sheer power and determination displayed by both combatants. Nag finds himself in a perilous situation and is questioning why the Green Guardian would send him to such a dangerous place. Suddenly, Cogmus appears, catching Kong by surprise. Cogmos casually remarks that he had initially planned to leave the previous day, but missed the opportunity due to the unexpected arrival of someone he absolutely had to avoid. When Kong asks if it was the saint who appeared, Cogmos grimly replies that if the saint had come, he'd already be dead instead. He reveals that the person who arrived was none other than Prince Alsis, the first heir to the Swordmaster Kingdom's throne and one of the kingdom's top 3 knights. He explains that Prince Alsis is part of the second generation of powerful beings, reminiscent of the young days of the Night King, a legendary monster queen. As Kong changes his clothes, Cogmus continues to warn him. He informs Kong that the prince has expressed interest in meeting him, but he must avoid revealing anything about Cogmus. Prince Alsius, being a paladin, blessed by the saint, could immediately sense Cogmus's demonic nature. Kong, unconcerned, tries to brush it off, but Cogmos grows frustrated and insists that Kong take this seriously. Their conversation is interrupted when a group of noble women arrives. Much to Cogmus's irritation, he sarcastically comments on Kang's popularity among women. Kong suspects they've come to ask for help. Leveling up again, Cogmus chastises Kong, saying he trivializes others' feelings, and warns that this attitude will leave him unmarried. The women, however, express their sadness, thinking Kong had left without letting them repay him for his help. As the banter continues, Cogmus notices that Kong is cursed again, and questions whether Kong killed a warrior or did something reckless. Kong denies it, but Cogmus warns him that if he stays in the city, his life could be at risk. When Cogmus suggests leaving, Kong grabs him by the neck, demanding who would translate for him if he were gone. Cogmus proposes finding someone enslaved, but blessed with the gift of language, suggesting that with enough money, they could acquire such a person. Kong, growing frustrated, accuses Cogmus of plotting to abandon him all along. Their argument is interrupted by the women who have come. Dressed elegantly, Cogmus mocks Kang's cluelessness, hinting that the women may have romantic intentions. Kong awkwardly guesses it might be love, but is quickly dismissed as naive. When the women suggest they go out for an outing, Kong reluctantly agrees and Cogmus joins them, deeming it safer to stay near Kong while Prince Alsius is in the city. The group roams through the city, and the women dress Kong in noble attire, leaving him uncomfortable. They eventually arrive at a grand mansion, and Kong becomes increasingly uneasy, unsure of what's happening inside the mansion. He sees a figure standing near a window. It's Prince Alsius. Prince Alsius approaches Kong with a warm yet commanding demeanor, addressing him in the universal language. Thanks to the blessing of language, he bows respectfully, surprising Kong and the women, and introduces himself. The prince explains that he is deeply grateful to Kong for subjugating the Orc Guardian and rescuing the noble daughters, calling it a great service to the kingdom. Kong tries to brush it off as a natural act, but Prince Alsius expresses his curiosity about the skills that allowed Kong to defeat the Orc Guardian, feat that had troubled even seasoned warriors. The prince then makes a bold request. He asks Kong to spar with him, eager to see the strength that accomplished such a remarkable feat. Kong freezes, caught off guard by the prince's request. Prince Alsius quickly apologizes, admitting he may have gotten overexcited by his guest's presence. Despite the friendly tone, the tension in the room is palpable. As Kong contemplates how to handle this unexpected challenge, Kong finds himself overwhelmed by the grand feast prepared in the mansion. Prince Alsius, noticing Kang's astonishment, suggests they continue their conversation over the meal. Kong eagerly digs in, devouring a surprising amount of food. Prince Alsius, amused, comments that he's a bit envious of Kang's seemingly endless appetite. Embarrassed, Kong apologizes for eating so much, but Prince Alsius reassures him, saying it's better to enjoy the food than let it go to waste. As they talk, Prince Alsius curiously asks how Kong got the warrior's curse. Kong hesitates, but eventually explains that he once taught a warrior harassing an innocent fairy a lesson. Hearing this, Prince Alsius connects the dots, realizing this might explain why Kong received the fairy's blessing. Intrigued, Prince Alsius asks if Kong remembers what the warrior looked like. Kong shrugs, admitting that he hit the warrior so hard in the face that he can't recall any details. Laughing, Prince Alsius suggests they could investigate warriors with facial injuries. To narrow it down, Prince Alsius then changes the topic, revealing the real reason for inviting Kong. He explains that the kingdom's guild investigations point to Kong as the individual responsible for hunting the most orcs in recent times. Alarmed, Kong asks if he's done something wrong, but Prince Alsius quickly reassures him, stating that Kong has solved a major problem for the kingdom. He explains that orcs from the plains have mysteriously disappeared, as if by magic, and Kang's actions have greatly benefited the kingdom. Kong admits that he might have gone overboard hunting orcs, but never expected it to have such an impact. Prince Alceus praises him, saying he's eager to learn more about him later. That evening, as they exit the mansion, Prince Alceus confesses that his curiosity about Kong has grown. Although he initially planned to end their meeting with a simple, "Thank you for rescuing the noblewoman," he now wants to understand Kang's abilities firsthand. He proposes a friendly duel. Kong reluctantly agrees, thinking it'll be a quick exchange. As the duel begins, Prince Alceus thanks Kong for accepting the challenge, promising to hold back. Kong, unsure of how to handle the situation, decides not to use his holy sword, and instead pulls out a small dagger gifted by the fairies. Seeing the dagger, Prince Alceus is taken aback and praises Kong for possessing such a rare and powerful artifact. Kong downplays it, saying he learned to use it through trial and error. Prince Alceus is impressed by Kang's humility and resourcefulness, remarking that Kang's mastery of such a dangerous tool is remarkable, especially at level 1. The duel begins with Prince Alceus allowing Kong the first strike. Kong decides to test his full strength and activates the blessing of outsiders and fairies. A radiant aura surrounds him, leaving everyone in awe as Kong strikes. His dagger collides with Prince Alceus' sword, creating a blinding flash of light. The impact is so powerful that it shatters the prince's sword. Kong, realizing what he's done, panics. Worried he might have accidentally killed Prince Alceus, he glances around for an exit. Seeing a chance, he bolts from the mansion without a word, leaving everyone stunned. Meanwhile, Prince Alceus sits on the ground, holding the remnants of his shattered sword. He smiles, marveling at the absurd strength of Kong. Reflecting on the duel, he admits that his reaction was too slow to counter such an overwhelming attack. Although his prized sword was destroyed, he's deeply impressed by Kang's raw power and potential. Shaking his head, he mutters, "Kong truly is something else." Suddenly, the girls come near Prince Alceus and ask him if he is alright. He replies that he is okay. After that, he stands up and says that the world is very vast. Lusa tells him that she thinks Kong is startled too. Julia is also shocked as he immediately runs away. Prince Alceus says that it all happens because of his weakness. He almost gets the savior of the kingdom guilty of attempted royal murder. After that, he tells the ladies he wants to apologize to Kong, and Lusa needs their help. Julia tells him that he would have gone to the motel after this. The ladies are also going somewhere. Lusa tells Prince Alceus to wait for them. Meanwhile, Prince Alceus looks calm and is excited, as he recalls when he first learns about the sword from his mother. On the other side, the Saintess returns to her room. She asks the house helper if anyone entered her room without permission today. As usual, he replies that no one did except the inspector and the maids. The Saintess knows that there is an intruder, as footprints are on the floor. The house helper warns her and tells her to stay out of there, as an assassin might be hiding. The Saintess sees him and asks him if he is telling her that there are assassins who leave behind tracks. After that, she tells them that no one will come in until she says so. She sees that the bag of Kong is also missing. She is shocked. She thinks that out of everything, only the bag is gone. It is okay, even if the other things get stolen, since they can be replaced. But Kang's bag cannot be returned. He is a little bit worried. She thinks that the clear evidence that God lied has disappeared. A certain bumptious god of goodness asks her what the fuss is about. She replies that Kang's bag has been stolen. The Saintess is worried and says that somebody breaks into her room and steals it, the only thing they take. A certain bumptious god of goodness rebukes her, saying she should have destroyed it earlier. The Saintess replies to God not to put her faith to the test. A certain bumptious god of goodness is uncomfortable and asks her what she will do. She replies that she will have to leave it for fate to decide. A certain bumptious god of goodness asks her if there is any way to find it. The Saintess tells her that instead of asking how she should look for it herself, a certain bumptious god of goodness leaves with a frustrated expression. After that, the Saintess is so worried, and her head hurts just from thinking about Kong. Suddenly, a magic ball asks the Saintess if she is okay. She tells the ball to send the message to Prince Alceus in the fairy kingdom. After some time, the house helper comes to Prince Alceus and tells him that the Saintess is looking for him. Prince Alceus thinks she calls him because he forgets to report to her. He tells her helper that he will leave the destroyed fountain and the rest to her, and then leaves. He comes to his room and sits before the magic ball. He calls the Saintess. She asks him about his investigation of the disappearance of the orcs. Prince Alsus tells her that he will report on the contents of the study. He thinks executing their orc hunting plans with the warriors will be challenging. He also tells her that the number of orcs has drastically decreased and does not seem to increase. The Saintess asks him if he finds the reason. Prince Alsus tells her that, according to what they find from an orc, they capture and interrogate through the blessing of language. It seems that a demon has taken over their habitat. The Saintess is surprised to hear that. Prince Alsus tells her that the information has not yet been confirmed true. She tells him they should strengthen the watch on demons doing such a thing. She also appreciates him for his efforts. After that, Prince Alsus tells her that he has a suggestion he wants to make. On the other side at the motel, Kong tells Cogmus to pack his stuff immediately, as they have to run away from there. He tells him that if they are caught, they will be executed for the attempted murder of the prince. Cogmos is shocked to hear this. Kong tells him that he can run away quickly. Cogmos tells him that he is worried about himself being involved with him. Kong takes out the holy sword and tells him to tell the ORC to open the portal quickly. Suddenly the portal appears. Cogmos is shocked to see this, as he does not believe that Kong is using some magic. Kong tells him he does not have time to explain, so meet him at the city's northern gate. He also tells him that he will not wait for him for long. After that he enters the portal. Kong is so pissed off right now. On the other hand, Prince Alsus tells the whole thing to the Saintess, that a warrior attacks the fairy. He tells the Saintess that he knows nothing about the name or the appearance besides his face being injured so severely that his original face could not be recognized. The Saintess tells him that she has one person that comes to mind. She tells Prince Alsius that he might be Han Wu. Even for him, it will not be easy to cause a nuisance like this. Prince Alsius tells her he has appointed inspectors, so the expelled warriors do not cause problems. After that she tells him that she permits it, and that he rewards the cursed citizens generously. She also says that the warrior's fault is the lady's responsibility. She tells him she should take care of this, but she has to go to the fairy kingdom urgently, making it complicated. Prince Alsius understands her and tells her he will reward them, so they do not feel disappointed. After that they end their meeting. Prince also stands near the window and thinks about Kong, as he wants him in his kingdom. He thinks this armor level will not be enough to get him. Kong is throwing the stuff from the portal. The humans are waiting for him. After that he comes out of the portal. Now he is in the Orc City. Bruce is happy to see him. Kong tells him that they need people. Bruce asks him what kind of people he needs. He tells him that he needs the people who move out his stuff. Suddenly, the Green Guardian comes there and asks Kong what is happening. Kong tells him that from now on, these people will be moving his things, so do not kill them. He replies to Kong that this place is not his storehouse. Kong replies that he has to transfer the stuff he has ordered through the sword to the exit. The Green Guardian tells him he has experienced many types of humiliation before, but this is the first time he feels weaker than him. Making him angry, Kong tells him that he will take this as a compliment. After some time, Cogmus also comes to the city's northern gate. Kong also comes there. He tells him to run away quickly. Cogmos is shocked and tells him to explain the situation. Then he decides. Kong tells him they must run as far away as possible from the ladies. Cogmus asks him if it is related to receiving the warrior's curse. Kong agrees with him. Cogmos looks worried and tells him they should head north as early as possible. If he wants to escape, Kong asks him what is in the north. Cogmus tells him that the biggest slave market in the western continent is in the north. He also tells him that he will find an enslaved person who holds the blessing of language. Kong is smiling. Cogmus is annoyed with his expression. Kong tells him that the fact that he is not running away is fascinating. Cogmus gets angry and tells him that he is the one who took all his things. Suddenly Kong holds Cogmos and starts running. After some time in the jungle, Cogmos is hungry. He wants to eat something. After that, Kong tells the holy sword something and takes the food from the portal. Cogmos is shocked to see this. They eat the food. After eating the food, Kong says it is not as delicious as he had with the prince. Kamos tells him that no matter how he sees it, he does not understand it. He has never heard of magic that prepares meals and does the dishes. Kong doesn't reply to him. Cogmus gets angry. Kong tells him that they have to move now. He tells him to stop complaining as they are almost there. Kong is surprised. After some time, they reach the slave market. The market is very huge. Cogmos tells him to stop behaving like a villager and come quickly. Cogmos tells him there will be issues if the checking is too strict. In cities like this one, where the population is large, Kong tells him that this is a weird town. Cogmos tells him he will not run away for now, so give him back his things first. Kong tells him that he cannot leave him until they find an enslaved person who has the blessing of language, and Cogmos agrees with him. After that, Kong tells the Holy Sword to send him the old brown bag at the back. After that, the portal gives him the bag. Cogmos thinks the sword seems to be the medium. This guy would have learned something other than magic. He thinks the Holy Sword is the magic sword. He tells Kong to give him the blades. As he wants to look at the sword, he holds the sword and says that it does not look like there is a dimensional spell on it. Outwardly, it simply looks like an ordinary iron sword. Suddenly Cogmos is shocked by the sword and realizes that this is the Holy Sword. Kong tells him that he does not know that the theft prevention was installed in this. Cogmos is angry at him and tells him he cannot give the Holy Sword to a demon. He says he should have known when he handed it over to him so quickly. After that, he asked Kong how he can hold the Holy Sword. Kong replies that this is a defective product. Cogmos tells him the weapon is also a defective product. Just like its owner, Kong gets mad after listening to this. After roaming in the slave market, Kong asks him if he is okay as he looks fatigued. Kagome tells him he cannot be all right before a holy sword. Meanwhile, an enslaved demon is listening to them. The owners in the slave market are selling their slaves. Suddenly Kong says this is turned off. Cogmos doesn't understand him. Kong tells him that he imagined the owner of the enslaved person mistreating the enslaved person, and a man of justice saving the enslaved person. Cogmos means that he is saying nonsense, and that he doesn't have big expectations from someone like him, who almost murdered the prince. He tells him to think normally at least. Suddenly Kong sees that the man is torturing his slave. Kong asks Cogmos what is happening. He replies that it is a classic narrative that produces sympathy. He also tells him that after a performance like that, the weak-minded ones are inspired to buy the enslaved people. Cogmos tells him that looking at that enslaved person, her skin looks so good for someone being abused. Kong is surprised. Cogmos tells him not to fall for it and just come this way. Kong thinks that there are 4 types of enslaved people sold at the market: human, fairy, dwarf, and mermaids. There are little differences in price, depending on the kind of enslaved person, but more than their appearance or skills. The most critical attribute was their level. After that, Cogmos tells Kong that since they have no place to go now, they should have a look around here later by themselves. Kong asks him about the destination. He replies that he knows a few shops that only handle the top-end enslaved people. After some time, Kong comes to the end. There is a fairy there who welcomes him. Cogmos tells her that he is looking for an enslaved person with the blessing of language. She asks him about the level of the enslaved person. Cogmos tells her that the rest doesn't matter. He wants an enslaved person with the blessing of language. Suddenly Kong speaks up and says that the enslaved person should be one who will be able to follow him through his journey. Cogmos tells him that this kind of enslaved person does not exist, but he will try. The lady means that they have one enslaved person. Cogmos is shocked to hear that. He tells Kong that he already buys the enslaved person, who will be suffering because of him. After that, the lady takes them to the enslaved person. After reaching there, Kong sees that there are some top-end enslaved people. He asks Cogmos why they didn't run from here. He replies that all enslaved people carry a person's curse or mark on them without exception. He also tells him to see the status windows of the enslaved people. After that, the lady shows them the enslaved person. She is a beautiful lady, but a demon. Kong finds her fascinating. It is rare to see a monster who has fallen to be a slave to humans. Kong makes fun of him and tells Kagome that he ordered an enslaved person who is just like him, and the only one who can satisfy that condition is a demon. Cogmos says that he wants to buy this enslaved person. Cogmos is counting his money. On the other side, Kong asks the enslaved person how she ended up becoming a slave. She replies that there was a man who was more precious to her than anything, but he doubted her love for him, and so she consented to be his slave. Kong finds this story interesting. Meanwhile, God is annoyed with him. On the other side, Cogmos finds it a sad tale and cries. Both the Lady Demon and Kong are watching him. Suddenly, the Lady Demon asks her master to get rid of this insect, as he dares to look at her lightly. She feels like ripping his eyes out. After that, Kong tells the Lady Demon that they have to go. She asks him if it is okay. Without proper confirmation, he replies that it is okay, since they already confirmed it from her status window. Her name is Jialoka, level 27. She has many blessings with 3 curses. Jialoka is a little bit pissed off. She tells him not to take it. Weirdly, it is because of the blessing of an enslaved person. Suddenly she comes near him and tells him he can order her to translate next to him. She tells him that the reason she is obeying him, an inferior human, is to be commended. Instantly Cogmus tells him that he will not simply spare him if he tries commanding her to do something weird. Dialoka tells Kong to give her a command to kill him. Kong tells him that he has not killed him yet. Kong thinks that he should buy some other enslaved people. After some time, he purchases many enslaved people because they are cheap. Dialoka says they all have low levels. It is a blue-collar job after that. Kong creates the portal and tells his slaves to enter the portal. One by one suddenly, Cogmus comes near him and tells him he wants to tell him something. He tells Kong that he has changed his mind and from now on, he will accompany him suddenly. An arrow hits Cogmus's head and he falls. Kong is shocked. Dialoka tells him she wants to do it, but someone else seems ahead of her. Kong says that getting attacked in broad daylight makes this world fascinating. Meanwhile, someone is shooting arrows at them, causing everyone to get frightened. Kong finds it troublesome, realizing that people will gather at the scene. Dialoka tells him that these are slave thieves and explains that a rumor has spread about a level 1 guy buying many enslaved people. The guards also arrive. Dialoka asks Kong if she should kill them. He tells her it doesn't matter to her since she's enslaved, but emphasizes that her being a demon should not be found out. He suggests they escape the city. After some time, they are in the jungle. Kong takes Cogmus aside and tells him to get a hold of himself, reminding him that he cannot afford to be weak. Cogmus admits that he has never been this close to getting assassinated and had let his guard down. Dialoga comments that it means he has been living defenseless, all this time depending only on his healing power. Calls him weak. Cogmus gets angry. Kong notices blood stains nearby and suddenly sees Dialoka preparing to attack him. Kong grabs her hand, telling her that she thinks he's straightforward. He uses his nullification power and cuts off her hand. Dialga is shocked and asks if he is a level 1 player. Kong simply asks what if he is not, and adds that it seems she's been underestimating him. Just like Kagome, she charges at him to attack, calling him human, but Kong is ready. He tells her that now he will show her his absolute master's powers. He jumps and punches her repeatedly. Dialoga smiles even after being beaten up, telling him that it seems like he let his guard down. She retaliates and hits Kong with full power. Kong knows this will hurt, but Dialoka apologizes, saying that an injury of this level is nothing for a demon. She also requests that Kong declare her freedom as his command, and then she will heal him immediately. Kong smiles, recovering quickly, and tells her that even her master wouldn't be weakened by such an injury. Dialoga becomes annoyed and heals her hand. Kong realizes that they both have healing abilities. He tells her they should fight to the death and see what happens. Meanwhile, Cogmus, observing, tells her that he knows Kong well and understands his battle style, so he wants to assist her. Suddenly Kong throws a dagger at Cogmus, injuring him. Cogmus tells Kong that he claims to know him well, but wasn't expecting this, and warns that he will beat Kong if he tries to betray him. Dialoga thinks Cogmus is an evil man and it's not easy to deal with someone like him. Suddenly Kong jumps and hits Dialoga again, claiming that it's all for impressing her. She stops his attack and tells him she hates guys who can't be trusted. Kong responds that she is the one who betrayed his trust. He prepares to punch her again, but she retorts that she is enslaved, but never swore to become his slave. The powers of both are collapsed. And meanwhile, Dialoga realizes that her healing cannot keep up with the wounds she sustained during the fight. She is curious how Kong is still so active. Kong smiles and tells her that it's a pretty good excuse. Kong strikes Dialoga again, and a blast occurs. He tells her repeatedly that she cannot defeat him, asserting that there is no chance for her to win. As he punches her, he notes that while she claims not to care about her body, she is proving to be more challenging than the ORC from earlier. Suddenly, wings appear on Dialoga's body, and Kong is shocked to see this. He prepares to punch her, believing he can knock her down before she has a chance to fly. However, Dialoga jumps instantly, and Kong is surprised to see her flying. He thinks that, despite her ability to switch between attacking and healing, she seems fatigued. Kong, confident in his ability to defeat her, activates his blessings of fairies and outsiders. He believes that Dialoga is not as great as she seems. Meanwhile, Dialoga decides to end the fight with one final blow and descends to attack Kong. He is ready to finish the battle, but she hits him on the head with a powerful strike, causing a huge blast. After some time, Kong regains consciousness and feels regret, realizing that he has lost to her. Kong is disheartened, and God asks him if this loss was expected. Kong tells her that it was an irresistible force, that he couldn't counter Dialoga then appears, asking if Kong is okay, and suggesting that he should get some new clothes. Kong questions why he should give her new clothes, but Cogmos steps in, offering to get her some clothes that suit her better. Dialoga punches Cogmos, reminding him that it is the master's responsibility to provide food, clothing, and shelter for their enslaved person. Kong watches them as he takes clothes out of the portal. Dialoga wears the new dress and admits that she lost, noting that she couldn't overwhelm Kong. She also expresses her concern about what would happen if the ownership of her slave status were transferred to Cogmos. While she's fatigued, she approaches Kong, telling him that he intentionally let himself lose, which leaves her feeling unsatisfied. Kong responds by telling her to acknowledge that she has lost and will obey him. Dialoga, with some disdain, acknowledges that Kong, a lower creature, is her proprietor, but she warns that this is humiliation and shame, something she will carry for the rest of her life. Cogmos then warns Kong that he will kill him if he makes any absurd demands. Regarding Dialoga, Dialoga stops him, telling him that if he forgets, she won't mind. Meanwhile, the god comments on how hopeless and crazy Cogmos is. Dialoga then holds Kang's face, and he asks what she's trying to do. To his surprise, she hugs him, explaining that she is fatigued because of him, and will leave the rest of the work to him. She soon faints, and Kong is left perplexed. On the other side, Prince Alsis is speaking with the Santis at the mansion. The Santis informs him that the orcs in the plains have been eradicated, and another lady mentions that the number of gnolls drastically decreased in the forest, just like the orcs this time, while holding a slime. The lady asks the Saintess if she came to search for her for this issue, but the Saintess replies that she is not here for that. Meanwhile, Celestia wonders how Kong is doing. The Saintess listens, as Celebless tells her that she wants to find the stolen items, and the culprit. The Saintess replies that she indeed wants this. Celebus informs her that she will not be seeing the culprit. She places her hand on the slime, and tells the scientist that she will try to request this friend's cooperation. The Saintess excuses her for the question, and then asks if this friend has such an ability. Celebless laughs and assures the Saintess not to worry, stating that moling is a special slime. She explains that this friend is not moling like the other slimes, but it is moling. Saintess tells her that she cannot understand anything she is saying. Celebus responds that she will understand when she sees moling's power. Celebus asks the Saintess where the clues are to finding the culprit. The Saintess replies that they are currently at the scene of the crime. She also instructs her to find the thief who intruded into her room. Estes is shocked to hear this. After that, Estes tells Moling to reveal the intruder's identity. Moling smiles. The Saintess asks Celebless what Moling is saying, thinking that she cannot interpret it through the blessing of language. Suddenly, Celebless speaks up and tells the Saintess that, according to Moling's explanation, the intruder has run away using the holy sword hanging on the wall. The Saintess now realizes that this is the worst possible outcome, as the warrior is the culprit. She looks worried. She tells Celebrus that it seems like she has already guessed the culprit, and thanks her for the help. She asks if there is anything she can help with as well. Celeste Bless tells her that she plans to join a magic institute this time, and that it would be nice if the Saintess could help her at that time. The Saintess is surprised and tells her that it looks like she is saying that she will be taking office as a professor in the Magic Institute. Stella Bless confirms that she is right. She explains that during the last incident, her level was lower than that of the soldiers, so she could not do anything. She then tried increasing her level through hunting, but realized it did not suit her, due to her nature and reluctance toward wars. Despite living for thousands of years as a member of the Fairy Kingdom, she is only level 12 if she obtains the teacher title. She can gain experience without battles, making it the best choice for her. The Saintess tells her that she understands, and that she will try her best. On the other side in the city, Hanwoo looks happy. He says that despite the gap in their levels, he will completely trash Choi Gangman the next time they meet. A certain god appreciates him. He feels happier as the god compliments him. After that, a merchant master arrives with some stuff and tells Hanwoo that he has brought his ordered objects. Hanwoo is shocked to see the stuff. The merchant master tells him that it is just a token of thanks to someone who will save the world. Hanwoo replies that he still thinks that is too much for him. After that, He tells the merchant master that he wants to ask him something. He asks if there is a dungeon nearby that no one has conquered yet. Merchant master replies that there is no dungeon nearby. Hanwoo thinks that they just have not found one yet. It does not make sense for dungeons not to exist when warriors grow. Suddenly, he notices that many people are gathering a little distance from him. People are saying goodbye to someone. Hanwoo also goes there suddenly. He is shocked to see the person. She is Celebless. Hanwoo finds her incredibly pretty. He does not know anything about her. Meanwhile, Celebless apologizes for creating a fuss. She says that she has not come here to seek revenge, so they do not need to worry. At the same time, Hanwoo is curious about why she is here. After that, a new mayor arrives. Celebless asks him if the basement is still the same. The mayor shows her the way to the basement. Meanwhile, Hanwoo watches them and thinks that this has to be the heroine event. Suddenly, Celebless notices him. Hanwoo smiles and asks her if she has something to tell him. She replies that she does not understand the purpose of asking those questions. After that, he suddenly asks her if she is married. She replies that she had planned to get married. But she stopped. Her knight also stopped her. She is a little bit pissed off and tells the mayor to go. Hanwoo realizes that she has had some incidents that she cannot explain. As a protagonist, he thinks he should help her. After that, he goes somewhere and says that there is no need to hurry, since there are many things he does not know about her. So he should do some investigation. At night in the temple, Prince Alsus talks with the heroes. He tells them that, as they might already know, the warrior's goal is the Demon King's subjugation. To achieve that, they must first mobilize all methods and ways. He tells them that this tournament is the same as well. After that, he shows the heroes the plan. He tells them that they left many orcs free in the area, marked by red lines. This tournament's assignment is to hunt an orc and check the tag on its ankles. The heroes are curious about the assignment. Prince Alsus raises his hand and tells them that whatever method they use does not matter. The winner is the one who brings back the most of these tags. He tells them that the tournament's grand prize this time is the warrior's holy sword, which is one of a kind. Meanwhile, Choi is excited to win this tournament to beat Hanwoo. On the other side, Hanwoo analyzes his status window in the city. He thinks that it would have been nice if there were save points. He says he cannot be admitted to the academy because he does not have a warrior's post. He remembers the conversation with the knights earlier. One of the knights tells the other that they are assigned as an escort. There his fellows tell him that the warriors are getting admitted into the magic academy. The knight tells his fellows that even the fairy elder will work as a teacher. Hanwoo imagines his future where he will give Celeste a love letter. One day she will come to him and tell him it is unsuitable for the teacher and student relationship. He will reply that he does not mind trivial things, and they will hug each other. At present, Hanwoo decides that he can go back to being a warrior, and that he will go to the magic academy as well. Everyone is shocked to see Hanwoo at the temple that night. Prince Alice asks him why he is here. Hanwoo tells him that he will participate in the tournament too. Prince Alice tells him that a person who is not a warrior cannot experience it. He replies that he will return to being one, as his skill level should be enough. Choi Gangman is angry to see him there. Meanwhile, Prince Alice also notices him. After that, Prince Alice tells Hanwoo that he heard the news, that he had been considered an equal to warrior. Choi Gangman, but he cannot help but be suspicious of his personality. He also asks if he has forgotten about the incident with the fairy. Hanwoo is shocked to hear that, and tells him it was a misunderstanding, as he genuinely tried to help her. Prince Alice gets angry and asks how he can describe such a blatant lie. Suddenly he notices that the Saintess is also standing there. Prince Alice is curious about her, as he does not know her intentions. Suddenly he tells Hanwoo that he understands him. He tells him that he can enter the tournament, on the condition that he returns the money he received, while giving up on the post of a warrior, and that he will acknowledge his return. Hanwoo replies that he has used it all in training, but will pay it off soon, so he should not worry. Prince Alice tells him that it is too early to be happy. He tells him that he wants to see how much he has grown after leaving the temple, and that he will confirm it himself. The heroes are shocked to see this. Hanwoo tells Prince Alice that he will be surprised. He uses his magic blessing and throws a fireball at Prince Alice, but he gets beaten up by the prince. He crashes into the temple wall. After that, Prince Alice tells the heroes that this is the last confirmation. Those who are participating in the tournament should raise their hands. He also tells them that, for their information, no protection will be provided to the warriors in the upcoming incidents. The heroes are shocked and a little bit frightened at the same time. After listening to this, after that, some students raise their hands to participate in the tournament. Prince Alice tells them that those warriors, hesitating to participate in the tournament, should not regret it later, and should state their answer now. Suddenly, the Saintess interrupts him and tells him that should be enough, as they should respect the warriors' decisions. She tells the warriors that those not participating in the tournament should return to their dorms and pack up. The warriors are surprised to hear that. They do not understand what she means. The Saintess tells them that they are planning to intensively sponsor the warriors with courage and determination, which is part of the selection. Suddenly, all the warriors raise their hands. The Saintess smiles and says that a real warrior must have true courage. A warrior who only seeks profit is no different from a mercenary. Suddenly, one of the warriors says that the winner has already been selected. He says that it is not that they lack courage or determination. The Saintess replies that they do not need warriors who look at reality and avoid fights. After that, the Saintess tells them that those standing here have passed round 1 of the tournament. She wishes them God's blessings for the next round.